Welcome back to today's new tutorial topic. So today I'm explaining for the overview of course structure as objective for the Python programming language kit. So certainly here detail for overview of the Python programming course structure and its objective, as the structure can be adjusted based on the target audience's skills level and either they are beginners, intermediate, or advanced learner. Okay, so I'll just let me explain for this course. So first of all, I'm just going this the page, and here I'll simply explain for this the topic. So first of all is a introduction to the Python programming language. Okay, so Python is a high-level interpreted programming language known for its simplicity and readability, and it was created by Guido van Rossum and the first released in 1991. Okay. So this Python for emphasizes code reliability and simplicity, making it an excellent language for beginners, while still being powerful enough for the professionals. Okay. So I'm starting for this course structure process. Okay. So, and this whole section of forces defined for the basic syntax and data type, like the variable and data types, including like integer, float, string, and booleans. It's now explained for the basic operations, string manipulations, and type conventions. And second point here in this code I'm doing for you is a conditional statement. Okay. So now conditional statement inside I'm defined for like the if, else, if, and else statements, nested condition, and logical operators. Okay. And the third topic for the loops. The loops are the most important topic. So here in the loop section, defined for perfectly explained for practical and theoretical for loops, while loops and nested loops, break and conditional statement. And also different for is a list and a tab. So here is a page for is an important section. So list defined for the list operational method, double characteristics and users, and the list comprehension. So as except here, I'm also declare for the section dictionaries and sets. So in this dictionary set section, I'm defined for the topic, and I'm deeply defined for dictionaries, operations, and methods, and also for the set operation and methods. And next, also different for the functions. So functions are the most important part for this programming language. So you can see in this whole section, perfectly defined for details is defined and calling function, functions, arguments, and return values, and lambda function and echo variable. So if you perfectly understand, and now it's create simply it's a one level is update, and here I'm also creating for the file operations. Okay, so you can for what file operations. I'm also use for the more examples. So in this station, I'm perfectly explain for and create the practical example, like creating from and writing to file, working with a different file formats, text, cells, and JSON. Okay. And this time I'm also here is then for essay this Python programming station and create for perfectly exception handling. Okay. So in this exception handling is the most important part for this file handling. So in this instance, create like try, except, else, and finally block, and also insert for years handling the multiple exception. Okay. So this section is mostly I'm explaining for years modulus and package. Okay. So you can see for this module station for the topic insert details and practically the type perfectly creates putting modulus standard library modulus users perfectly created for the algorithm, and also defining for creating custom modulus and package. Okay, I hope you perfectly understand for this Python programming station. It's a most attractive station for your future skill development process. So the station and this structure covering a comprehensive pathway from Python is a basic advanced topic, and ensuring that learners develop both for theoretical understanding and practical skill it must be updated for your professional and student life. Okay, I hope you perfectly understanding this course and course structure and objectives. Okay, so I hope you perfectly focused for all session and perfectly great for all example. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to today's another teacher topic. So today here I'm explaining for what is Python and its applications. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm just going to the next slide. So you can see is what is Python. Okay, so Python is a high-level interpreted programming language that is versatile and widely used for across various domains. And here are some of common applications, just like for high-level language, interpreted, readable, and express syntax, and also, okay? So first time explain high-level language. So Python is abstract as many technical details from the programmer, is allowing them to focus more on the solution rather than the indices of the language itself. And interpreted for Python code is executed line by line by an interpreter rather than being compiled into for machine learning code before execution. And this facilitates rapid development and debugging. And also here I'm explaining for what is readable and expressive syntax. And Python syntax is designed to be clear and concise, is resembling plain English. Okay. So next topic here, it's declared this is applications of Python. So Python is provided for is once for applications. So here I'm simply note down some topic, and here I'm perfectly explaining for these applications. Okay. So first explain the web development. Okay. So web development for Python framework is like a Django and the Flux are widely used for building web applications and increase due their simplicity and stability. And also for the content management system is like the font and WebGL and built with Python. And the next topic here, data science and machine learning is most important for in this world. So Python is raised ecosystem of libraries such as NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib library, and Split-Learn is a preferred choice for data analysis, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. And it's library like for the Tensor, Follow, and Pi, and are extensively used for deep learning applications. Okay, so I be already something is understanding for this Python applications. So next topic here, I'm also defined as a game development. Okay, its reason is most important for this game development. So Python is used in the game development both for scripting and building game engine. Libraries like the ICAM provide tools for developing and for coding, and also important for desktop GUI applications. So this Python is support GUI libraries like is a tkinter and PyQt and the Gflex icon used for developing for desktop application with the graphical user interface. And also here I'm defined for is the next topic is networking and the cybersecurity. And right now I'm explaining for this topic. So Python is used for networking programming. For creating here is the network of applications and network automation faster. And also use cybersecurity for tasks like the penetration testing, forensic analysis, and security automations. Okay, and here, if you understand perfectly for this, and here I'm perfectly explained for here this topic. Okay, so I'm already defined for the Python some applications explained here. So also here I'm also defined for is education. So education side for Python is simplicity and readability, make it an excellent choice for keeping programming concept to beginners. and widely used for education and setting for teaching and introductory programming courses. Okay, so here is a Python for variety, easy of use and robust ecosystem of libraries framework. And to make it suitable for a wide range of applications, from it's a simply scripting task to complex scientific computation, and AI is a drive applications. Okay, so in this session I'm used for the simple example, and I hope your concept is completely clear. Okay, so now I'm open for here's a Python. This code editor I'm inserted is for this Python code editor. So now in this insert, I'm getting for this basic Python program, and you perfectly understanding for this Python. So now just insert it simply for the name, okay, and is equal to. So first of all, here I'm just type for this input field, okay, and this insert I'm just type for message. Suppose like for this is what is your, okay, so what is your name, okay, and I'll get and use this question mark, and then I'm used for here the user, so simply just type for print, and this instead so for example I'm just type for message for hello, and then is for concatenate for this name field, and again this concatenate. Now here I'm inserted for is another parenthesis, and now create this sign and just type this message again for welcome to Python. Okay, so Python programming. So if you perfectly understanding this code is completely done, and now here I'm just inserted for promote into your name, and then it's well for here is it preview this code. Okay, so now just simply select all and say this code, and here I'm just run this code. Now so as you can see here, see the message for what is your name. So just you can see just press for enter. So now just again check. So just press for this post message for what is your name. So now just let insert here just going. So next inserted for the name is Zara, and press for enter. You can see hello Zara, welcome to Python programming. Okay, so I hope you perfectly understand this example, and here I've completely used this. Okay, so here I hope you perfectly clear is your concept, and I hope you perfectly understanding the station. Okay, so this topic is perfectly understand. So thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome back to this the tutorial topic. So today here I'm paying for the Python shell and the script mode. Okay, so this tutorial cover for basic of Python interactive shell and a script mode. So now let's get started. So here in this Python, the two main way of running a code, and Python shell is a script mode. So now let's start with here the first time applied for the Python shell, and Python shell is an interactive environment where you can execute Python code line by line. Okay, so simply here I'm explaining for is a Python shell. So it's simply open for just open for as a terminal. So here I'm just going for my local disk, and in this instance I'm already installed for this Python IDE. It's called the Python shell, and terminal just open, just it's not crazy, so it's a double press, and just you can see here it's perfectly opaque. Okay? So it's a terminal, and so here I'm just command prompt and type for Python, and it's defending here. So now I'm completing. You can see the Python from it. You can see the tuple this lesson sign indicating you can insert for typing a Python code. Okay, so now just start. First of all, here I'm apply is a arithmetic example. Okay, so you can see my first is type for is a 2, and additional operator for 3. Okay, so hit for enter buttons. You can see inserted for is a 5. Okay, So if you perfectly understanding, so just simply small going here. So now just click for here, you can see. So here I'm perfectly inserted to just right now is not. So you can see it's for the values. So now just use for another condition. So just type for 45 and use for the decrement sign and instead for the okay. Now press for enter. You can see the result for 30. So completely done. And now instead for the variable assignment, you can see assign for variable in the 5 Python show. Just type for here and just type is x is equal to 10 and it's not true for output because it's a variable x value is 10. You can use a variable in subsequent commands so you can perfectly see the output. Okay, so now just insert it for the y is equal to 20 and now here I'm use for in this print and create this parenthesis inside I'm different for x and I'll just type for you can see here insert it for the value is 10. Okay, I be completely understand. Okay, and now here I'm inserted for use the function called that inserted. So if you understand and inserted, so just it's not correct, so it's okay. So first of all, I'm use this is a print function, and in this insert I'm print for the hello program. So just type perfectly constantly insert for hello Python. Okay, so you're perfectly understanding this code, and now here I'm use for perfectly inserted this code, and I'll just press for and hit for enter button. You can see the result. Okay, you can see here the result for hello Python. Okay, it's a demonstrating is perfectly used for print function 2 in this display. Okay, so I be perfect understanding for the Python script. Here's a shell. So now I'm going for the script, create the script mode. So I will be perfectly understanding this code, and this process is most easy process. Okay, so now just minimize this, and here create is a script mode. Okay, so just let's talk about this script mode. The script mode allow us to write Python code in a file and execute the entire file at once rather than line by line. Okay, so you can choose here the create for simple folder name, and it is inside create for Python. In Python file, I'm already created for the folder and also for the file, and just I'm open for this Python code editor. So you can see here I'm inserted for the local disk and create for the project of folder name here. Sorry, project in Python for the folder. Okay, so and file name is a project. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm used for the simple program and just created the Python is create that calculate area of rectangle. Okay, so here in this code, so just I'm going for first of all here type is a length. Okay, so you can see it's set for the length of type, and as I'm defining for here, you can see the width is 3. Okay, and so here I'm create for another variable name is area, and first of all I'm defining for a length and multiplication sign is for in this width. Okay, and now here I'm print for this program and just type for where is a perfectly suppose like for area of this is a area of rectangle. Okay, so if I completely understand, and here I'm called for in this area this variable. If you understand, and here I'm used for is already saved for this main dot, also saved for this main dot the pi is extension here. I'm now just executing this script and see the result. Okay, so now just save all and save this code, and I'll just press for here is a run button. So now just press as you can see here, see the result for 15. Okay, I will be completely understand, and you can see here I'm also used for user input with this script mode. Okay, so for example, just I'm going for is a remove this, and instead of for publicly this name is called equal to, you can use for this input, and in this inside I'm create for the name. So for type for enter your, so enter your first name, okay? And you can see a course name for, so for example, I'm just going for the next, I'm simply use print function and in this insert and define for this name, okay? So now I'm inserted for here, create this code and run this script and promote for here enter your code name inserted. So now I'm save and press for the enter. You can see is our press for this on. So now here I'm inserted for this is not create. So then here again save and then I'll just remove this. Okay, so I'm just disconnect this. So now just again you can see inserted for this one and here I'm just type for the my course name is a Python and press for enter. You can see here see the result for Python. Okay, so I will be complete understanding and here I'm perfectly applied for first time create the Python shell and also create the script mode. Okay, so I will be completely understanding this tutorial. So and that's it for today's tutorial and understanding the Python shell and the script mode. Okay, so here I'm completely covered the basic of Python shell along with the example of simple commands and script. Okay, so now just thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and we'll come back to Python Pro tutorials on understanding for basic syntax of Python programming. So in this session, I'm defining for essential syntax element using for classic hello world program. So now let's get started. So first of all, I'm explaining for, the Python is known for its simplicity and reliability. So now let's get started by looking at the most basic program in Python for printing hello world to the scheme. Okay. So in this session, first of all, here I'm just create for basic syntax. Just going for simply here I'm used for the print and in this instead I'm defined for simply create for hello world. Okay, so you can see here I'm perfectly inserted for hello world. So this means and now just around in this code and create for the output. So I'll save this code and press for here's the run button. So as you can see here, see the result for hello world. Okay, so perfectly inserted for hello world. And it's written out for it's for here is some variations of in this code. Okay, so now just string for in this message of variable. Okay, so instead of directly passing the message to the print function, you can store it in a variable just for just I'm going for here and then just remove this parenthesis. Okay, so right down here I'm just type for this is a message is equal to is now is create and here I'm instead for the print function instead I'm defining for this code method again. So here simple this code is done and now I'm press for hit for the enter button. You see the result. Okay, now just save and press for the green and you can see here see the result for hello world. If you understand perfectly, okay. So here I'm already defined for the type of for being the hello world and next up here I'm explain and create the concatenating a string. So Python is allowing us to concatenate a string using for plus operator. Okay, so just I'm going for and here first of all I'm remove those masses. First of all here is this is a creating is equal to just type for here creating masses. Here is a hello and next step here I'm creating for this is a subject. Okay, so you can see instead for the subject is equal to so create in this inside is a world. Okay, and now here I'm creating is define this is you can see perfectly insert for the message is equal to for some generate here is a creating and is for concatenate for plus sign and then create this and now here is for another variable just type for here the subject and use for again just concatenate and you can see insert for the sign. Okay, if you understand here simplify this code and get the familiar output. Okay. So now it's perfectly done, and simply save in this code and press for the restart button. Okay. So if you understand, set for the result for hello world. Okay. So I will be perfectly inserted in this code, and here I'm perfectly explained for three-way print for hello world message. Okay. And this topic here I'm also inserted for using for the f string. So finally, just using here is a Python for it can use for the f string for string interpolations. Okay, so for example, just I'm going for this insert. So remove this. Okay, and here I'm kid is just remove for the subject, and here I'm inserted for this is a name. Okay. So name is world, and then get for the message inside. I'm remove for this all f in this code, and first of all here I'm use for the if string formatted code, and then in this instead I'm just type for here is a hello. Now I'm getting this concatenate is not concatenate instead for the string type data instead for the name variable. Okay, and now it is this is for the sign, and now it simply print for this message. Okay, you can see we print just save and run this code, and is still get the same output. So just verify it. So simply save in this code and press for the enter button. So you can see here 0 for the helpful. Okay. So if you want perfectly understanding, and here's the if string is of a more consistent and readable way to embed it for expansion inside for the string. Okay, so and that's all for today's tutorial on the basic syntax of Python programming. Okay, so here we perfectly covered the various ways you print for the hello world and with the explanations for it. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to our tutorials on understanding the variables and data types in Python. Okay, so in this session, I'm defining for explore for how to create for the variables and work with the different data types in available Python. Okay, so now let's get started. So here I'm using for a the different type of data in Python. In Python, for variable or like here is a container that's hold for data. They can store for various type of information such as number, text, or booleans values. Okay, so in this station, first of all, explain and declare different integer value. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm good for this code. So first I'm define for this age is equal to 25. Okay, and now here I'm print for this age, and in this instance I'm just type for this is age variable, and now here I'm simply declare this age variable. Okay, so now it is a completely create this code, and now just I'm save in this code, and let's run this code and see the output for to the console. If you understand, and here see there's 25. So this means here the variable age is a store an integer values 25, and it's perfectly print the values of a is into the scheme. So I will understand and I wait for the next step. And this topic here I'm here for string type variables. Okay, so first of all I'm explain for the variables can hold store string with restricted kinds of characters. Okay, so for example, just remove this all code and define here their name is equal to instead for that name is a Zohan, and also use for the print this functions. And first of all, here are define for the output and messages like is a name, and define for user simply this name. Okay, so you can see here I'm inserted for the variable name is name, hold the string for Johan, and then print for in this value of name to the print. Okay, so just some save and paste for the enter button. So you can see here, see the result is perfectly print for the name is Johan. Okay, so if I understand this for this topic, okay, the next topic here I'm defined for is other variable, just like for inserted here, I'm put for plotting point variable. Okay, so just press remove, and in this instead I'm now create this string type, and now instead the Python also support for the plotting pointer number. We send numbers with decimal point. Okay, so just type for here. You can see height is equal to 1.75. Okay, and now use for the print function and print for this height. So you can see height and create clone, and simply here I'm define is a height. Okay, so now I completed this code and just save. You can see is here I'm creating for the plotting point variable save, and then let's run this code. And now as you can see here, see there is a for height is 1.75. Okay, so if you understand and this topic, here I'm creating with a boolean variable. Okay, so the boolean for this Python support for booleans variable is represent for true or false. So now just going for here inserted. So now just type for is underscore the student, and it's equal to print for this condition is true. Okay. Then here I'm use for print function, and just so for example, just type for is the person is student. Okay, so the person student, and use this quotient mark, and then create this semi, and here define for is underscore this student. Okay, if you understand, and here the variable is a student, all the boolean values to indicating that person is this is string. Okay, so now here just to select all and save this code, and just let's run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for is a student is it's true. Okay, so if you understand for in this code, okay, so if you perfectly understanding in this output and this example code, so here I'm perfectly use for is a total is for the, for example, is perfectly defined for a variable with data types. Okay, so here and there's is tutorial and complete, and here I'm perfectly explain for step by step for variables and their types in Python. Okay, so here I'm completely cover for the variables work and export the different data types like integer, string, float, and booleans. Okay, so I hope you understanding and enjoy in this session. So thank you for watching. Hi everyone, and come back to Python programming tutorials. So today we're going to explore for working with numbers, string, and booleans in Python. So this is a fundamental types that you use in almost every Python program. Okay, so let's start with the numbers. Okay, in Python you can work with the integer and floating point numbers with a simple example. So just I'm going for this coded inside and first of all working with the numbers. So first of all here I'm defining for the variable is equal to val is 10, and the variable is equal to 3. Okay, and later on insert for this some underscore this result variable is equal to create for this expression for a and additional operator for b, and now insert for and there for expression for your division for this result is equal to a and y for b. Okay, so if you understand, and then here use simply print functions. So first of all I'm print for some values, some for with additional operator, and helping this type for some of result. Okay, and instead of here use for again print function and print for the first time define this, you can see instead of for the message, so just type for here is perfectly you can see this division of result. Okay, so this means first time define here is a 2 integer first is a and b, and then calculate the sum of and the division, and the result is printed out. And so here is a simple for mathematical operations can be performed in Python. Okay, so first of all I'll set all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the results. So first is a print for some values result is 14 and division for 3.33 something. Okay, so I have it perfectly understand for is the number. Okay, so next topic here I'm explaining is a string. So the string in Python are used to represent text. You can concatenate place and manipulate a string in Python. Okay, so now let's get started. So now I'm working with the string. So simply just cross this output section and remove this pod. So first of all, I'm good. The message greeting is equal to this type for the message here. Folder type is for hello, and signature I'm defining for that name is equal to. So now double question inside I'm defined for the name is so adjustment, and you can see inserted for the adjustment, and so I'm put for welcome message. So some type for you can see as welcome message is equal to. So first of all, define is greeting and then concatenate for this in this code. And now so this I'm going for, and again create this concatenate and define for the name variable, and also for create this sign. Okay, so if you understand now, I'm print for this welcome message. So simply just type for is a print function, and in this instead I'm taking for this message. Okay, so you can see right down here I'm different for the twisting, positive rating, and saying is the name. And we're using for this class operators means the concatenate them to form a complete welcome message, and the result is a friendly greeting. Okay, so now this I'm very and first of all I'm save in this code and press for this enter button. So as you can see here, so there is for hello just me. Okay, so I have a perfect understanding. So this is a two topic perfectly. It's a complete down, and those you're using is a boolean type. Here is a booleans file. So now it's for booleans. So booleans is represent on of two values for two or false, and they are often used in conditional statement. So just remove and right now I'm working with the booleans. So first of all I'm get for booleans a variable. It's a name for is sunny of a day. Instead of create the condition if it's true. And except here I'm type for has underscore. This is umbrella. So can is perfect is not correct. This is spelling mistake. So this is umbrella. So you can say this when it's perfect is equal to correct for that conditional is a false. Okay. And if I'm used for the if statement in this insert, I'm just create now. So if I'm just type for is underscore sign, and the not so has underscore this umbrella. Okay, and now use here the print function and print for the message. For example, just type for here enter the sunshine. Okay, you can see I'm perfectly inside for here enter the sunshine, and next step here I'm good for else statement. And now here I'm used for again print a function and print for another message. So for example, the some type for is a picture take an umbrella. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm perfectly inserted for this message. Okay, so now it's a down, and here, and first of all different as a 2 billion variables, just like is a sign and has the umbrella, and used for if a statement to take if it is a sign and we don't have an umbrella. If it's both condition is true, for the printf is a message change the sunshine. So now I'm just writing for this output is this one is correct and match for in this in this program. Okay, so first of all select all and set this code and paste for enter. So you can see here, see there is a for enter the sunshine. Okay, so you can see here is a perfectly inserted for this output. Okay, so it's perfectly inserted is completely used, and here's a perfectly placed for the expected for output in this code. Okay, so now is and there's a default to the tutorial, and here I'm perfectly cut for the basic of working with the numbers, string, and booleans in the Python. Okay, So this simple example is a versatile and a formal Python for handling different type of data. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the session. So thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our today's Python programming tutorial series. So today I'm just going to learn about fundamental functions in Python, like the input function. So the input function is making interactive programs. So first of all, I'm simply explaining for the input functions. It allows us to take input from the user. When the function is called and the program will pause and wait for the user to type something and press for enter. So now just let it start. So first of all, here I'm different for the basic user input. Okay. So first of all, here I'm just type for this is a name is equal to simply here I'm different for input. Okay. So in this insert I'm get for the message type for here is a what is your. So you can see just a type for here what is your name. Okay. So now here I'm used in this question mark. And next step here I'm used so it's just simply in print function use and print for another message. Just a type for here is a hello, and now here insert for here's a concatenate for in this name, and again use this plus sign, and now in a double question insert I'm create for this sign. Okay, so this means here I'm just use for the user to enter the name, and here's the input function with for the user to type the name and press for you enter. And enter for here's a name is stored in variable name, and just print a greeting message using in this input. Okay. So I'll just save this code and press for this run button. As you can see here, so the result for what is your name. So now instead for the name is a Smith and press for enter. So you can see here's a press for and see the result for hello Smith. Okay. So I hope you understand. Okay. So it's a done for basic user input. And this topic here, I'm explaining for inputting numbers. Okay. So now remove for this name variable and insert this is age. Okay. And here just on type for is add their message. This is like simply define for how old are you? Okay. So is it done? And now going for input function, and here I'm changed for in this hello, and here I'm perfectly inserted for so you are and use. So now just remove this comma, and in this insert I'm remove for this name variable inserted for the age variable, and now here I'm inserted for this is all simply just define. So you can see remove this, and first of all here I'm type for years old. Okay. So you can see here I'm perfectly inserted this years old. Okay. So this example, I'm here to ask for user for there is, and however, it's note that input function is always return a string, even if the user returns a number. So now just save in this code, and then run press for in this run button. So as you can see here, see the result for how old are you. Now press for is insert is a 25 and hit for this enter button. Okay, so you can see here you are 25 years old. Okay, so if you understand, okay, so this is done for completing the input function. And this I'm also used for converting for input to integer. Okay. So for example, just going for again here and remove for this is inserted for perfectly number. And now here I'm just type for message. So you can see remove this how old are you, and here I'm insert for enter of number. Okay. And now here I'm inserted for the another number. Define for the number is equal to create for integer value, just print this number. Okay. And here I'm remove for this code, and perfectly here I'm just a type for you can see your number, So a number is multiplied, okay? You can see it's multiplied by 2, okay? And is here I'm create this column, and now here I'm use perfectly this plus sign and for the concatenate this string, and in this inside I'm define for post is a number and then multiplication sign for 2, okay? So if you understand, and now here I'm just perform arithmetic operations, you need to convert the input to an integer using for integer functions, and here just ask the user for a number and convert to in a integer and multiply by it by 2. So now just I'm saving this code and press for in this enter button. So as you can see here, enter a number instead for the number is 42 and hit for this enter button. You can see the number is multiplied 2 is 84. So this is the output, okay? So and that's it for today's tutorial on using the input function Python. You're perfectly learned for how to take input, convert in and use for multiple inputs, okay? So I hope you enjoy in this station. So thank you for watching. Hi everyone, and welcome back to our Python programming tutorial series. So today we are going to learn how to format and display output Python. So this is a key skill for making your programs look professional and easy to read, okay? So first of all, first step is introduction to this program creating. So is a Python program. So now in this Python have several ways to format a string and display output. Just go through here example among and demonstrate this technique. So first of all, here I'm using the print function and inserted for perfect example. So first I'm type is a basic input statement. Declare for firstly the name variable inserted for the name is Alice, okay? And I'm also inserted for another variable, the Alice. Alice is a petty, and now I'm simply use this print function and first I'm created for the output message that this is defined for name, and like here I'm define is a name variable, and next again use this print function and print for perfectly this age variable, and now perfectly define this is age, okay? If you know, here is a basic example used for perfectly this print function to display a name and age, and the print function can take is a multiple arguments for separate by in this commas, okay? So I verify this example. So first of all, I'm saving in this old program and press for this run button. So as you can see, the result first is a print for name is Alice and age for 30. So if you perfectly understand, and so now move for another example here. Also get is a string concatenation, okay? So for example, I'm just again use this name variable and remove for the name, insert for the name is above, and also insert for the age is 25, okay? And then I'm use for remove for this another print function. So first of all, I apply for is name, okay? And now here I perfectly create the concatenation of this string, and the here is for another double position inside the particular part is in this age variable, okay? And I'll just create a class, and now perfectly inserted for this is a string swap from str, and now I'm in this insert particular part is age variable. So if you understand, for here is another way to format output by concatenating this string as it is combined for this text and variable using for here is a plus operator. And note that you need to convert the integer age to a string using for this string functions, okay? So it's completely done, and now I'm saving this code and press for here is a run button. So you can see here's a simply defined for this error, and now is a bad operand. So I'll just begin verify this code. So you can see this is perfect now. Okay, so here I'm inserted for the comma is not correct, so it's perfect. The name and then for concatenate and then age is still not perfect. So here I'm select all and save this code and press for again this run button. So as you can see here, see the private feed for the name is Bob and age is 25. So is it done for this string concatenation? As next topic here, I explain for using the if string. So the if string introduced to the Python provides a more elegant way to format a string by prefixing the string with an if and placing variable inside for the curly brackets. Okay. So now change for this name inserted for here is the other name. So different for here, the name is Charlie, age is 35, and then going for first time apply the if and the name. So here I'm remove for this concatenation, and first of all I'm create this curly brackets. So remove this one, and now starting and closing, and here I'm use remove for this plus sign, and again remove. So here I'm use for comma and define for perfectly this age variable, and again remove this for also is concatenate. So you can see perfectly remove this and starting for this parenthesis and closing this curly brackets. Okay, and now here I'm completely complete for this is conditions. Okay, so you can understand is completely create, and now here I'm using for the if and passing variable inside for the curly braces, and it can easily create is formatted for in this string. Okay, so now is it completely done, and simply here I'm say in this code, and again just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, so the result is named print for Charlie and age 35. Okay, so it's completely done as in this example. Next step here I'm used for another topic is defined for using the format method. Okay, so now I'm going for here this variable inside and change for the name. So now I'm inserted for another name is Diana. Okay, so Diana. So perfect the type is a correct Diana, and age is Diana, age is 28. Okay, and I use for the name and you for this if, and first of all I'm not define this name variable, and also insert again the same this process follow for this is inserted, and now first of all here I'm used for the dot is a format method. Okay, so this insert I'm declare is a name variable, and second I'm define here is called the age variable. So if you understand for here is a format method is another versatile way to format a string, place the curly brace as a placeholder in the string, and call the format method with the variable to replace the placeholders. Okay, so it's completely done, and now I'm save in this code and press this run button. So as you can see here is the result. So this is the print for the name is Diana and age is 28. Okay, so if you perfectly understand, so and this is for today's tutorial on formatting and displaying outputs in Python. And here I'm completely covered for the basic print statement, string concatenation, if string, and last I'm apply for the format method. Okay, I hope you completely understand this technique and has its own use for this case. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello Bill, and welcome back to our Python programming tutorial series. So today I'm just going to explore first some fundamental operators in Python like arithmetic, comparison, and logical operators. Okay, so this operator are essential for performing for the calculation, making decision, and building a logic for in program. Okay, so now let's well go through the example and demonstrate use this operation in Python. Okay, so first of all, I'm inserted for the variable. So first is a is equal to the values 5, and second for b is equal to 4. Okay, and now I'm inserted for perfectly. This is a addition operator, a and plus operator for b. Okay, and now cut this. So simply here I'm just copy. Okay, and paste for here I'm define this is a difference for is now paste, and here I'm used for the subtraction. Okay, So this means it's perfectly, you can see used for a difference, and now here used for perfectly. This type is a subtraction. Is not, this is a perfect subtraction, okay? And then here I'm used for the multiplication. So multiplication is equal to a and additional multiplication sign for b, okay? And now here I'm print for division, okay? So if you understand, instead for the division is a and divide for b. And lastly, here I'm different is a modulus. You can see it's just type is a modulus. It's not correct, as this one is correct, and a and is a modulus for and then b, okay? If you understand, the complete inserted for this the arithmetic operator, and I'm print for the arithmetic operator. So first I'm print for is a addition, okay? And secondly, here I'm print for is a subtraction, and third I'm print for another variable, just a type here. You can see this is a multiplication, and again use this print function, and print for is a division, and lastly I'm print for here is a modulus, okay? So if you understand, and you can see here a different the first two variable a and b, and perform for is various arithmetic operations and print the result, okay? So just input for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus, okay? So now it's completely done, and here I'm select all and save this code, and let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result is perfectly printed, okay? So addition result is 19, subtraction 11, multiplication 60, and division for 3.7, and lastly modulus for 3, okay? So I hope you understand, okay? So it's done for arithmetic operator, and next I'm different for here is a comparison operator, okay? So comparison operator, these operators are used to compare two values and return a boolean result, either true or false, okay? So if I understand, inserted for x, and here I'm inserted for this is a y, okay? So now insert for the value is y, and first of all here I'm inserted for the value is x value is 10 and y value is 20, okay? So it's now I'm inserted for 40. So first of all here I'm create is greater than, so remove for all of code, and first of all here I'm type is this is a greater than is equal to x is greater than y, okay? And next inserted for is called the less than is equal to x and less than of y, okay? So now I am going for here, so next step just insert it. So next create for is equal to, okay? So equal underscore this 2 is equal to for x and equal to y, okay? And now here I'm inserted for is not equal. If you understand, I'm inserted for is not correct, so this line is not underscore, is equal, and is equal to. So perfectly here I'm just type for first is declare x a variable and not is equal to y, okay? So if you understand perfectly, simply here I'm going for and remove this addition, and first of all here generate for the greater than is print for the greater than value, okay? And next here's a print for simply just type define is less than, and third process here apply is equal to this condition, and now I'm inserted for is not equal to, okay? So if you understand, and here I'm simply define is process declare the two variable x and y, and then use for comparison operator to compare these values and print the result. And this include false is greater than, less than, equal to, and not equal, okay? So if you understand this code, now here I'm save in this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result. First is condition is a false, second is true, and third false, and fourth is true. If you understand, it's comparison operator. And now here I'm define is a logical operator, okay? So now let's work with logical operators. This operator used to combine for years multiple Boolean expression. Okay. So for example, just remove 4 in this olive code. And first of all, I'm define where a is equal to print for the condition is 2. Okay. And b is equal to print this condition is false. Okay. So first of all, I'm create here the logical and so just type for, you can see the logical underscore use the and is operator for a and b. Okay. And then it's perfectly just type here is a logical and then here copy for this code and paste for his next. So here I'm used for total full time use this code. So now I'm used for logical and then here I'm inserted for the logical not operator for a, and again used for logical not operator for b. Okay, and then change for and here I'm used for this is a or operator, and then I'm inserted here is first time type is not of a, and now I'm perfectly inserted is not operator. So you can see not operator for b. Okay, so if you understand perfectly, and then I'm going for the next step. So just I'm remove for this x space. So now this is correct, and here I'm used for this is a simple print function. So first of all, print for here's a logical and operator. Okay. Next type is for again print function. Now inserted open and logical and or operator. And again use this print function, and now inserted logical is not a variable, and also lastly define and declare the logical is not for b variable. Okay, so if here you can see is the same process follow for the 3 operators. So already is first of all always define is a 2 variable non-defined for the Boolean variable for a and b, and then use for it is a logical operators to combine these values and print the result. Okay, so this include for here is a logical and logical or and logical not operator. Okay, so now here select all of code and save this code, and here just let me run this code now. So okay, as you can see here, see the result for of our logical operations for false for a and operator b, and 2 for a or operator b, and the false for a not a, and 2 for is not a b operator. Okay, so the summaries for this here I explore for perfectly arithmetic comparison and logical operators in Python. And this operator is essential for performing the calculation, making comparison, and combining for conditions in our program. Okay, so I hope you enjoy in this session. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our programming series. So today we're diving into the world of Python to learn for how to write for simple expression in Python. It's a versatile and full language that is great for beginners and the pros alike. So now let's get started. So first of all, talk about what an expression in Python. So simply put, an expression is a piece of code that you will evaluate a value. It can involve for the variables, operators, and functions called. Okay, so now just look at here this example. So first of all, here I'm defining for the basic expressions. Okay, so now I'll just write a simple program to add numbers. Okay, so simply here I'm inserting for the arithmetic a is equal to 10, and to now insert for the b variable is equal to 20. Okay, so if you understand, and now here I'm inserting for the system type for is a result is equal to defined for it is the arithmetic operations. Okay, and then here print is the next line, transfer is a print function, and this insert a first and defined for the sum of. So first of all, here alpha is a variable of a, and so here could for and operations, and this question inside and different, and next I'm declare for the variable of a b, and also insert for here is a, and then finally is a difference for in this result variable. Okay, so if you understand in this code, so first I'm declare for a variable of a and b, and with for the values of 10 and 20 respectively, and the expression for a and the plus for b, these two numbers is together, and the result is stored in the variable for result. And finally, so I'll just print it for this output. Just save, and the press bar here is the run button. So as you can see here, see the result for the sum of 10 and 20 is 30. So this first finally is print for the result. Okay, so I have understand. Okay, so done for is a false expression. And second here I'm defining for string concatenation. Okay, so I'll move on my second example. I'm using for the string concatenation, and so I'm trying for the two string together. Okay, so now just remove for this of code, and first of all here I'm defining this is a source name is equal to, suppose like it's Jenny. Okay, and you can see I'm get here the always use a different for this condition inside and declare. Okay, and then here instead is a publicly just a type for here. This is a last name for Jenny Smith. Okay, so you can see here publicly different for the Jenny Smith, and then here different for the other variable just name for here is called the full name. Is equality is first of all declare for the first name, and concatenate for here this is the last name. Okay, so you can see it's perfect, and now is for is a print function, and print for simply you can see inserted for the full name. Okay, and then you can use for the and call for this full name. Okay, if you understand, and here can is for the two string. First is the first name, and the second for the last name, and instead for the value first name, a value Jenny, and the last name value Smith. Okay, and here is concatenate for the string using for this plus operator, and the space is between two from the full name. Okay, so if you understand in this example, so now just say in this code, and press for is a run button. So as you can see here, so there is a for full name just like is a Jenny Smith. The case I even understand. Okay, so done for a second example. I'm already defined, and next step here I'm using now is a function and expressions. Okay, so this used for is a built-in function with an expression, and calculate for here absolute difference between for the two numbers. Okay, so here I'm just again error for this code, and so of course I'm defining for x is equal to decrement for 15. Okay, for the subtraction 15, and y is equal to 5. Okay, and then here I'm just type this is it's not correct. It's a difference is equal to, see here I'm use for absolute. For a, b, s, at this insert I'm create for this expression. Okay, so if you understand here is simply print function, and print for the dimensions type for the absolute. Okay, so it can say insert for absolute is a difference between. Okay, you can say insert for the perfectly between. And here I'm used for the x, and again is for this double question instead I'm different for the and here instead for the variable of y, and get for again this condition instead I'm different for is I lost here I'm this difference variable. So if you understand, and here I'm perfectly is for this if it be as this function to get the absolute value of difference between for x and y. Okay, and if this expression for x minus y gives us, and if this is its requirement is 20 and return, so this very first code, so it's simply different publicly now. And here now just select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the absolute difference between 15 and 5 is 2 is 20. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here I'm completely create this code and see the result. Okay, so now that's it for today's tutorial. Is done, and here I'm simply explaining for the expression pattern using for the arithmetic operations, string concatenation, and publicly used for the built-in functions. Okay, so I have a public number for this expression. So thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and welcome back to today's Python programming tutorial. So here I'm exploring for the basic of if, else, if, and the else statement in Python. Okay, so this conditional statement help you to control the follow of a program based on different conditions. Okay, so now let's look. This example is perfectly defined. Okay, so first of all, here I'm used for the first example I'm creating for the if statement to take if a number is positive. Okay, so now I'm just starting and taking for if a number is positive. Okay, so first of all here, defined for the number is equal to 10. Okay, and now here I apply for if and define for this number is greater than or 0. Okay, and now here I apply for this print function, and in this insert I'm define perfectly this double question and create for the number is the positive. Okay, so if you understand, and you can see now here is a check for if the variable for this number is greater than 0, and if this condition is true, and the program is printed for publicly the number is positive. Okay, so now just verify. So first of all, I'm saving this code and press for this run button. So as you can see here, see the result for the number is positive. Okay, I understand. Okay, so it's completely done for the if statement, and this topic here I'm explaining for you the else statement and the else statement to handle the case when the number is not positive. Okay, so you can see it's just different. So also for here I'm doing in this values as so now I'm different for the subtraction 5. Okay, and use for this condition and create the positive, and it's here use for simply apply this is a else statement, and then insert it for the print function and print for the output message, suppose like the number. Okay, so you can see inserted for the number is so negative. Okay, so if you understand, and here and this example is most simple example. Now first take if the number is positive, and if it is the print for the number is positive, and otherwise here is the else block this runs and print for the number is negative. Okay, so now just perfectly verify this example. So here I'm just let all and say this code and paste for here is the run button. So you can see here, see the result is perfect, the number is negative. Okay, so I understand. Okay, so it's done for the two statement. For first is the if statement, and already done for now right now done for else conditions. Okay, and I apply for is a perfectly else if statement. So use for here is a else if statement to add for another condition and take the number is positive, negative, or 0. Okay, so first of all here I'm doing for the number inserted for 0. Okay, and first create this, and here I'm going for the next step, and just type for here is the else if, and define for create this number is patient for is equal to 0. Okay, and now here I apply for it is a perfectly this print function, and print for the message suppose like for the number is 0. Okay, So if I understand, and yeah, it are completely inserted in this code. So this means, so you can see in this example, positive take if the number is positive, and if not here, the else if statement check if the number is 0. And if another of these conditions hit the else block, run and indicating the number is negative. Okay, so I'll just verify this code and simply select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So hit for this enter button. So you can see here the number is 0 because if the number is 0, the else if condition is true. And here is perfectly true, and output is the number is 0. Okay, so if you understand this example, and here, so now that's all of for today's tutorial, and here I'm perfectly explained and step by step different for else if and else statement is essential for controlling the flow of Python program based on conditions. Okay, so they allow you to execute with the different blocks of code depending on certain conditions are true. Okay, so I hope you understanding and remember this tutorial. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial on Python programming series. So today I'm expert for the concept of nested conditions. Okay, so nested conditions are a powerful tool for decision making in code. And those we'll go through here is an advanced example. Let's show you we can use for nested condition to handle the complex logical structure. Okay, so first of all here I'm taking for the temperature and the weather condition to decide for the weather to go for a walk. Okay, so first example I'm different here. So now I'm just first of all here deciding to go for a walk. Okay, so simply here I'm declare for the variable name is just like a temperature. Okay, so you can see inserted by the temperature is a 22 degree, and then here I'm inserted is perfectly called the weather. So is correctly just type. Okay, so it's correct. So here I'm double question inside different for weather is sunny. Okay, as so I'm apply for if statement. So just I'm going for and find for this temperature is greater than for 20. Okay, and so now here I'm use for again this if statement and define for this weather is equal to insert for this is a sunny day. Okay, and now I'm going for here and print for simply the output message. So first of all, yeah, I'll type this print function, and in this type for the message, for example, for it is a great day for work. Okay, so great day. Okay, so you can see inserted for a perfectly great day of work, and then I'm going for here is a next, and inserted for is a completely this is a else statement, and is for again this print function and print for another messages like for it might. Okay, so it might not be the best weather for work. Okay, so now just type for is a best weather for work. Okay, so I understand the in this example message. So here I'm also again use for this else statement and create for another print function, and then type for here is also like for is just type for here is code for work. Okay, so if I understand, and now in this code again explain, and right now I will perfectly remember. Okay, so now first I'm create check for if the temperature is above is a 20 degree. Okay, and if it is with a take if the weather is sunny, and if both the condition are bid or decide is a great day for a work, and if the weather is then sunny, and I'm just so this for it might not be the best weather for a walk. And if the temperature is not above, or here's a 20 degree, and it simply state here is a print for it too cold for a walk. If you understand for the example, okay. So now I have select all and save this code and perfectly hit for this enter button. Okay. So you can see here, so there is a for is a great deal for a walk. Okay. So I have understanding in this example, and here I'm perfectly explained for this code. Okay. So this simply done, and here I'm also used for another program. Just please here now assigning is a great based on a score using for perfectly is a nested loops. Okay. So first of all, here I'm define for a variable named as type score is 85. Okay. And now here I'm put for if statement, and then inserted for the score is greater than equal to 90. Okay. And so now here I'm used for this call, and then inserted for perfectly this is a grade is equal to for the grade of A. Okay. And now you inserted for another just like for the else if statement, and inside define for this score is greater than equal to for the 80, and use for again if statement, and define again this score is greater than equal to for the radius marks is 85. And next here I'm define this is so the type for perfectly is grade. Okay, so you can see perfectly type is grade is equal to for B. Okay, and now here I'm used for another else statement, and define for this is this type for you can see grade is equal to single quotation inside I'm define for here is a B plus. Okay, so it's a grade for this is again say for the 85 the score is print for the result is B plus, and else condition is simply print for the grade of B. Okay, it's a perfectly done, and now just going for here and apply for is another else if statement, and define for this is score and create for is less greater than equal to 70, and print for simply just type is a grade. So grade is equal to define for the grade of C. Okay, and here I'm inserted for another else condition. So again is not this one else, and grade for simply just like as a grade is equal to not print for perfectly this grade of B. So if you understand here, I'm perfectly used for it's called the nested loops for nested statements, and then here I'm just going for print for the output messages alike, and just type for first of all I'm used for is not now used for the F string, and kit for the messages like for here grade is, and now here curly brackets inside I'm define for in this a grade. Okay, if you understand in this code, and now here I'm again explain. So first of all, here I'm used for the nested condition to assign for the grade based on the score, and the score is 90 or above, the grade is A. And if the score is between for 80 and 89, and there is a further take if the 85 are above to assign for his B plus, or otherwise print for the B. And for a score for between for 70 and 79, and the grade is C, and in the score below for the 70 result is grade positive. Okay, so here I perfectly explain, and now just select all and save this code, and just let's print out this code now. So as you can see here, see the result and for here is a grade is B plus. Okay, if you understand, and here this score is 85. The output is for your grade is B plus, since it fills within the 80 or 89 grains and meet the additional condition for A, B plus. Okay, I hope you understand the example, and now it's done for the needed condition in Python. And all you to help for complex decision making by embedding conditional states within each other. Okay, I hope you perfectly remember the session. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Python programming tutorials. So today, dive into the follows and essential concept for anyone looking to master Python. So by the end of the video, it will completely understand how the follows work and work through. For this example is solidified for your understanding. Okay, so I'm simply explaining for. So in this Python, a for loop is used to iterate over a sequence, such as list, a tuple, dictionary, set of or string, and the syntax is simply and straightforward. So now looks at our first example. So first of all, here I'm iterating over our list. Okay, so there are examples that I'm going inserted for. So first I'm define, you can see use for the variable is a list. And now it used for the square brackets. So this insert first apply for the apple, and next use the first is a lib, then define is a banana. Okay, and also it does inserted for is just like is a orange. Okay, so if you understand, and now here I perfectly apply is called the for loop. So first of all, here I'm define is first in this variables is called first. Okay, and now here I'm simply use for print function and print for this first. Okay, so you can see in this the list of first that here the for loops will iterate over each item in the list and print it out. Okay, so I'll just select or I say this code. And simply just press for this right button. So this is not now, and here press. As you can see here, see there is a for perfectly printed for apple, banana, orange. Okay, it means so the list goes through the each element in the list assigning is through the variable for first and print it out. Okay, so I hope you understand. Okay, so this topic here I'm explaining for iterating over the range of numbers. Okay. So if you understand, and here, just in this code. So first of all, simply apply for and define for the I variable in use for this is a range, and now insert it for the range of 5. Okay, and now here simply this I variable. This means so in this code. First of all, using for the range of functions and which generate a sequence of numbers, and here for the range of 5, which generate for the numbers from 0 to 4. Okay, so now just verify this code. So here I'm save in this code and press for the run button. So as you can see here, see the print for the values is so you can see is 0 to 4. This means that for loops is iterate over its numbers in the range at points. And this is useful for iterating specific numbers of time. Okay, so I hope you understand this example. Okay, so next step here I'm applying for another example. I'm defined for here is a perfectly iterating over a dictionary. Okay, so you can see I like just removed for this code again, and perfectly post type is the age is this variable, and is equal to now I'm applying for the some documents. So first of all, I have inserted this curly brackets, and this insert first I'm defined for the first name is Alice. Okay, so the Alice is age is 25, and now here I'm inserted for another element. This type here is called the Bob, and Bob age is 30. Okay, and get used for another name is just defined for here is called the Charlie, and Charlie age is 35. Okay, so if you understand, and out here I'm used for perfectly this for loop, and also I'm defined this as a name variable. Okay, and this I'm defined for here is a age variable, and use for in. So for example, just type is age dot inserted for these items. And now I'm just simply print fill in this code. So first I'm used for if format and if a string and double quotations, and define for is curly brackets inside declare for the name variable. For is and again insert it for here's the age variable, and just the type for here is years old. Okay, if you understand. And this example, I'm creating for a trade of a dictionary, and here just you have a dictionary of names and the age, and here the items is made to return for the key values pairs, and allowing us to iterate over both the key and values. Okay, so if you understand this example, now just take this code. So first of all, select all and say this code. Now, so just press for here run button. As you can see here, see the result is perfectly printed for the Alice is ages 25 years old, Bob is 30 years old, and the Charlie is 35 years old. This means the loop is for is key value pair, and print them is a formatting string. Okay, so now, and there we have it. For this example is demonstrating for use the follows in Python. So either you are iterating over a list, a range of numbers, or a dictionary. For loops are a powerful tool in your Python programming arsenal. Okay, so keep practicing and you'll get the hang of the node 10. Okay, so thank you for watching, and everyone, and welcome to a Python programming tutorial. So today we're exploring for the for loops, a fundamental concept for controlling the for of a program. So now let's get started. So first of all, I'm simply explaining for loops. Okay, so in Python, for loop is a repeatedly execute a block of code as long as a given condition is true, and this make the for loop is a particularly useful for situations where you don't know in advance how many times you need to iterate. Okay, so now let's get started and insert perfectly explained for post exam. So first of all, here I applied for the basic for loop. Okay, so you can see in this code inside supposed to use for the count is equal to define for the value of 0. Okay, and now here I'm simply use for the for loop and define this is a count is less than 5. Okay, and next step here use simply the print function and print for the message. So for example, just type for the count is and create clone, and then insert for is a perfectly this count. Okay, and now next line I'm define the count is increment for 1. Okay, so this means first of all here I'm initialize the variable for count to 0, and the while loops continue to execute for as long as then the count is less than 5, and this iteration print the current value of count and then increment it by 1. Okay, so I will be perfectly understanding in this example, and verify this output. So just select bool and save this code, and then press for this run button. So as you can see here, see the result for perfectly print for count is 0 to 4. This means the loops is run to 5 times, so printing the values of counting is time until the condition count is less than 5 is no longer true. So if you understand it, okay. So this topic here I'm using for the value for user input. Okay, so I hope you is most interesting topic. So now just read this code, and first of all here I'm just type is called the user. So you can see user underscore input is equal to just is empty now. So right now here I'm just type is a for loop. Okay, so first of all here use for user input dot here I'm use just like for is like a lower method, and use for not for equal to, and instead for is it's just masses. Okay, and I'm going here and then define for again this user input is equal to again use for this input message, and in this instance I'm just type for the message For example, just type for enter something, okay? So you can see for enter something and then parentheses inside and difference of first time declare is a type, okay? And second question insert different for you can see the exist for y. So you can see perfectly inserted, okay? To now create this semicolon. And then here use the perfectly print function and print for the message just like so you the insert, okay? And apply insert for user input, okay? So this means for in this whole program, the for loop will keep for running for the until the user type for exists and the loop is promoted for the user for input and the print both the user agree and enter. So this is useful for creating for interactive program, okay? So I'll just select all and save this code and simply just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, enter something type exists for to create. Just type for you can see here simply use for exist and press for enter. You enter for the exist. So now I'm just next second time just run this code. So here I'm used for is a hello and press for enter. You can you enter for the hello, okay? If you understand perfectly, so here is a completely show for the output for hello, and I'm also inserted for something enter. Use this is a Python and press for enter. You can see is a Python, and now again use for here's the exist now. So can simply press for enter, and you can see you enter the exist. Okay, if you understand this output, okay. So it's the most interesting topic, and this is here I'm used for while loops with the break statement. Okay, so if you understand this, so then again you move this code, and first of all here I'm defined for the variable of a is equal to the value of 0, and here I'm used for while loop is conditional for is called true. And now here I'm inserting is a print function and print for the message just like it's a current number, okay, and insert for the perfectly correct number for n, okay. And now the next line is created for increment for 1, and now here I'm apply is a again this if statement create for in is greater than equal to 3, okay. And now here place for is a break statement. So this means your is and it find it for while loop that runs until is the encounter break statement, and the loop is printed the current number for increment, and it's breakout of the loops of when n is no longer less than 3. Okay, so now just some very basic examples. So first of all, select all and save this code now. So just let me run this code. So as you can see here, see the result for is count 0, 1, 2. So this means the loops is run indefinitely. And still the condition for is n is greater than equal to 3 is made. And at this point, the break statement exists for loop, and here is a counter loop execution more precisely. Okay, so now, and there you have it for this example is completely done, and here I'm perfectly explained for while loops work in Python. So either you're counting iteration, interacting with the user, and controlling loop execution with a break statement. Okay, so I will perfectly remember this example. So thank you for watching the video, and we come back to our today's video today I'm explaining for the Python programming. So expert for how to define and call functions in Python. It's an essential concept for organizing and reusing e code. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, I'm explaining for Python for functions allow you to can group code into reusable block and defining a function as simple as calling it is even easier. Okay, so now let's begin with the first example. So first of all, here I'm defining and calling a simple functions. Okay, so now just going for here and then type for is a tape and create for the function name just like is a grid. Okay, and so here I'm creating this clone and simply use for this printf function and print for the message suppose so hello Python. Okay, so if you understand and then going and now here I'm simply calling for this grid method. Okay, so this means for first of all here I'm defining a function name just like is a grid and here's printf for the hello Python. And to call the function is simply used for this grid is name followed by a parenthesis. Okay, so now simply code is defined perfectly and so now here I'll save this code and let's run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result is print for hello Python. Okay, so if you understand, okay, so it's done for a simple example. And next step here I'm create for another program just define. So here I'm defining for the function with the parameters. Okay, so you can see I'm defining for here is a grid and print for. So in this instance I'm declare for is name. Okay, and then repeat for in this instance for if string and simply I'm real for this and create for here is a curly brackets insert I'm defining for here is a name this function's name. Okay, and here I'm used for grid and first of all I'm just type is a false name, so it's like used for here simply Alice and another name I'm used for calling this function just like is in grid, and in this instance I'm defining for the name is Smith. Okay, so you can understand and here is simply example for the function is grid takes on parameter is a name and when calling the function and pass an argument to it and which gets used in the print for statement. Okay, so now here I'm simply save in this code and then just let's run this code now. So the paste for enter button, so you can see here see the result for hello Alice and hello Smith. Okay, so this means the code is perfectly run this code. Okay, so that is done and see here I'm using for is a simple function with for the return values. Okay, so you can see here remove for this code and explain for here is another code first I'm defining for the div for the function and is for the element. So this instead I'm defining for the variable of a and also for the b. Okay, and here I've used for this is return statement for a and additional operator for b. Okay, and here I'm perfectly inserted for this is result variable is equal to. So first of all here I'm used for add method. So define for here is 70 and 40. Okay, and then here I'm print for this result. So first of all here I'm type for the message just like for the sum is, and then I'll declare for this result variable. Okay, so if you understand, and here this example for the function is add method that take two parameters and return their sum, and the return statement send the result back to the caller which we store in the variable result and then just print. Okay, so now you're completely done and here I'm just select all and save this code and just let's run this code now. So as you can see here the result for the sum is 110. Okay, so this function is return the sum of two numbers and print for the result and is create for the function and can process data and return the result. Okay, so here's a done. So here and there you have it for this example. Is defined and the call functions in Python. So either you're creating here is a simple reusable code block passing parameter or returning values. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Python programming series. So now I'm expert for how to use for the functions, argument, and return value. So rule for the making functions flexible and powerful. Okay. So now I just simply explain for the function argument, allow you to pass the data into a function and return value. Let you get result back. Okay, so now let's get started. So right now here on post example, define is a function with the multiple arguments. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here right now is define is a function called div, and type here is a multiplied. Okay. So now it started for the variable of A and another variable of B. So now here I'm using simply the return statement for A, and then is a multiplication sign for B. Okay. Now here I'm using, this is a result is not correct. If this one is correct, is equal to declare for the multiply, and instead for the value is 3 and 4. Okay. Like here, I'm use simply print function and print for message, just like for the product. Okay, so you can see the product is, and now I'm declare for this result variable. Okay, so this means, so first of all, in this code, define a function name is just like for the multiply, and it takes 2 arguments for A and B. And is written for the product of these arguments. Okay. So when just call the function with the argument of 3 and 4 is written for the products. Okay. So now let's verify this example. So first of all, I'm going to say this code and hit for this enter button or run button. You can see the result is product is 12. So you can understand this perfectly is a perfect light for the function with arguments. Okay. And now here I apply for the function with the default argument example. So let's get started. So now here I'm simply just going for, here first of all I'm using for the function name, just like is a grade. Okay, so just type is a grade, and in this insert define for the arguments supposed to apply this is a name. And secondly, here I'm defining is creating QLT inserted for the team. Just type for here is called the elif. Okay, so this means it's perfectly inserted. So you can see also I'm defining for the name. The function name is grade, and the argument is name, grading, and hello. Okay, so now use for the return. So just undo this code, and here I'm used for the F string. And then double quotation inside, first use the curly bracket inside and define the grading. And again, define for here is another argument, just like is a name. Okay, so I understand, and then use for this time. And I'm going for here simply this result variable. And first of all, here I'm use simply just like, so first of all, here I'm use this is a grade, and in this insert for the name is a sir, and inserted for the another name, so I'm used for the print function, and inserted for the create functions, and in this insert post poll and define for the name is Jenny, and another message, for example, and just type for hi. Okay. You understand, and this function is equal to takes 2 parameters, just like here is a name and grading, and the grading parameter has a default value of here's a hello or hi, and the name is if no grading is provided for hello will be used. Okay, so now just I'm saving in this code, and let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result hello Sarah and hi Jen. Okay, so you can understand. And here is a perfectly defined argument. You can see our default argument work. The post call uses the default greeting, and what the second call is provided for here is a custom greeting. Okay, so I have understanding. So this topic and different for other examples, just like is a function returning for the multiple values. So now, first of all, I'm just going for here and typing for the function name and remove this button inserted for another function name. So inserted for the get the minimum and maximum value. In this insert, I'm doing this all of code and simply define for the arguments is a numbers. As used for the return function statement inside. First of all, here type is minimum is all the argument is down. Inserted for the maximum method and define for these numbers. Okay. Now just wait for result 10. So first of all, here apply this is a nums is equal to inserted for the sum value. So first of all, type 3, 5, and 1, 9, and 2. So now here I'm used for public is called the minimum value, and here applied this is a max. So this type is a public with maximum as is equal to, so here is the correct for minimum functions. We have for maximum function defined, this is numbers. So just press enter, and here I'm simply use for the print function. So first of all, I'm print here. So even for this grid, and first of all, define for is a double position inside, and define is a minimum value, and I'm called for here is a minimum functions. And then here again revoke this and insert it for again this double position and just type here is a maximum value. And now I'll define this maximum value. So if you understand, and this function is get minimum maximum takes a list of numbers and returns for both minimum and maximum value. And the function is written a tuple containing these two values. That all here is a select all and say this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, so the result for minimum value is 1 and maximum value is 9. Okay, so if you understand these numbers. So I hope you're understanding this topic, and here there you have it. This tutorial is completely done. And here are perfectly used for the function argument and return values in Python. So I hope you perfectly enjoy in this session, and if yes, for is once more example. Okay. So now thank you for watching and happy code. Hi developers, and come back to today's Python improvement series. Today I'm exploring for the concept of local and global variables and the recent key to understanding where the variables cope for in your program. Okay. So first of all, simply explain for is a local and global variable in Python. For local variables are defined for as a function and can only be used within that function. And global variable are defined for outside any function and can be accessed throughout your code. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm applied for the local variables. Okay, so if you understand, and so I'm get for perfect example. So first of all, I'm doing for the function and create for the function name is a by underscore. This is a function. Okay, and now I'm create for here define the variable of x is equal to the value of 10. And here I'm used for this print function and print for the message, just like on type for here's inside the function. Okay, and define for is x is equal to and declare for this x variable. Okay, and here I'm get for calling the functions. So you can see this I'm defining for the my function this method, and here I'm defining this function for my function where x is local variable. Okay, and it only exists inside for the function, and trying to print for x outside the function will cause an error. Okay, so now I'm real this. Okay, so there's some code, and here the save this code, and let's just try to run this code. So as you can see, not sure for the output. So here I paste, and again save and let's run this code now. So as you can see here, so they're perfectly printed for inside for the function is x is equal to 10. Okay, if you understand, this value for x is inside for function is uncount is commenting in the line is print x. Also, the function put result is an error, and because x is not defined, it's a globally. Okay, so we're simply done for the local variable. Now here I'm insert create for the global variable. Okay, so if you understand, and now first of all here is defined for is y is equal to 20. Okay, and create for the function name insert for the function is y is equal to defined for the y variable. Okay, and here I'm creating this function and insert it for the another print function, and print for the message is a type for here is called the outside the function. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here I'm used for the y is equal to declare for this y variable. Okay, so here I'm simply use for is a y is a global variable is different for outside the function. Both this function and the main code can access and print for in this y variable. Okay, so it's simply done, and now here I'm select all and save this code now, and just let me run this code now. So you can see here, see the result for inside the function is y is equal to 20, and after the function is y is 20. So this means here the global variable y is accessible both inside and outside these functions. Okay, so I remember. Okay, and as topic here, I've explained a great example for modifying global variable inside a function. Okay, so first of all, inserted for years I'm creating is just remove for the equal to the values 30 and use for my function, and then going for here simply I'm just type is a global for z. Okay, as inserted for here is a cancel remove for x, insert for z is the value is 40, and use for the method for insert the function for some type for z is equal to, again, is for this z. Okay, now here I'm used for just like inserted for the another print function, and print for another message just like for here you can see before is calling the functions. Okay, so if you understand, and insert for the z is equal to insert for this z. Okay, like I'm going for my function and insert for another message, just type for here is can see is called the after for calling the functions. So remove for y variable, insert for the z variable. Okay, so this means here I'm find this example used for global keyword. Can see here I'm used for a global keyword to modify a global variable inside in these functions. Okay, and the variable for z is changed for within the function, and the change is reflected globally. Okay, so it's completely done this code, and now I'm select all and save this code, and just let's run this code now. As you can see here, see the result forces print before calling the function z is 30, and insert the function z is 40, and after calling the function z for 40. Okay, so this means there's a completely using for a global keyword. The function is modified for the global variable z or then, and the change is a visual also the function as well. Okay, so and there you have it. It's still completely done, and here I'm defining for difference between local and global variables in Python. And you perfectly understand for variables such as the role for writing clean and error-free code as a quick practice, and I'll demonstrate the case concept in a digital text. Okay, so now just thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Python programming tutorial. So today we explore for how to create and manipulate lists in Python. So, and it's essential skill for managing collection of data. So by the end of the video, you'll understand for how to create a list, X list element, and platform for basic manipulations. Okay. So now let's get started. So first of all, I'm simply explaining for a good list. So in Python list can use for is to for multiple times in a single variable, and lists are the order changeable and allow for duplicate files. So now let's look at our first example. Okay, so first of all, here I'm creating for first example, just like right now, creating and accessing a list. Okay, so here first of all, I'm creating a list. Just a type here is a first is equal to inserted for the list of items defined for purpose is for the apple, and second here I'm used for just like is a banana, and third here I'm used this is a cherry. Okay, so if I stand and existing for this element to use for the print function, and print for is called the first fruit. So first fruit and should clone and just inserted for this first variable for this list and for the zero index. Okay, and so here I just copy this code and okay, and paste for here is the next two line. Okay, so first I'm printing for first fruit, and second I'm printing for is called the second fruit, and third here I'm using is called the third first. Okay, so just I'm going to remove this index is 1, and here is a 2. Okay, so it's perfectly done, and here I'm creating a list for the call of this first with the 3 elements, and next print for each element using its index, and remember it's a list indicates for the start at 0. Okay, so I understand, and now just select all and save this code now. So now just let's run this code. So as you can see here, see the result print. So first versus apple, second is banana, and third is cherry. So it's perfectly printed for this output. Okay. So it's completely done. And this topic here I'm explaining for, and there are examples. So now I'm modifying for this list. Okay. So now I'm going for here, and first of all I'm modifying and element. Okay, so now just comment out also is not a null. So I stay for here simply first is type is define this person is for index is 1. Is modifying this element, and inserted is just type for it equal to, and type for the first name is blueberry. Okay. So blueberry. So it's rather right, and here I'm using the print function, and the print for the message. Just the type for here is modified FIED modified list. Okay. Now inserted for this first. So you can see here's a perfectly inserted for this, and now just save in this code and simply run this code now. So as you can see here, see the modified list for apple, blueberry, cherry, because here I'm used for index for 1. Okay, so I hope you understand. And next topic here I'm creating is adding a new element. Okay, so again use this first variable, and here I'm used for is append method, and in this instead I'm used for another first name, and just like where's the orange. Okay, and then here I'm used for again this print function and print for the message, just like for here I'm type for a list for after adding. Okay, you can see adding and element. Okay, this right now is correct, and then here I'm used simply this first. Okay, and here is perfectly done, and I'm here set or set this code, and let's run this code now. So this again, so as you can see here, so the result for the list after adding an element apple, blueberry, cherry, and orange will insert for the first is orange. Okay, So I hope you perfectly understand it. Okay. This topic here I'm used for another example located for removing an element. Okay, so now again use this first dot publicly use this remove method, and now I'm used for first name just like for Apple. Okay. And here I'm used for again in this print function and print for the message. Now here I'm just type for here is a list for after is removing an element. Okay. So if you understand, and now here I'm again call for this first. Okay. So here in this program, is for first is modify the list by changing an element or adding a new element and removing an existing element, and list is a mutable, so you can easily make it this change. Okay, so now just I'm very last step, and now I'm against later on save this code and just his run button. So as you can see here, see the result for the list for removing an element for the apple is perfectly removed, and here is a step for the three course, so blueberry, cherry, and orange. Okay, so now it's perfectly changed for this as remove for the apple, and here's perfectly modified this content of list. Okay, so and then you have it. This example is perfectly I'm showing as how to create here is a manipulate list in Python. Okay, so lists are powerful and versatile data structure that you will use frequently in your programming. Okay, so keep coding. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Okay. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Python programming series. Today I'm exploring for the various list methods and operations that allow you to work efficiently with a list in Python. Okay, so now let's get it started. So first of all, I'm explaining for this list, and in Python, for list come with a variety of built-in methods that can help you perform the different operations. So the first I'm using for here is append and extend methods right now. So first I'm using for here is append method. Okay, so first of all, it's started for is a sum of first the variable name is just like here. First is equal to instead for the sum of first, so it's not now. So first of all, here's a double quotation inside for the first is apple. Okay, and secondly here I'm inserted for is the first just like it's a banana. Okay, I thought is for the first name is Terry. So this first previous example already used, and now I'm again use. So now first of all here I'm use for the first dot applies append method, and append for another first is just like a three is orange. Okay, and then here simply print this for just type for the message. So it's called the is append is called. And now I'm called for this first. This means here I'm used for append method to add a single item to the end of the list. Okay, so I'll check for this first. So first of all, select all and save this code now. So now let me run this code now. As you can see here, is the upper append is apple, banana, cherry, and the lastly append this orange. Okay, I hope you understand. And this step here I'm using for the extend method. So now here I'm used for a variable name is more first. Okay, so you can insert it for more first and just remove this, and this green figure is equal to insert for the remove first. So first of all here I'm inserted for first is a mango, and another first name is just is a grape. Okay, and here I'm used for just like it's the first dot is for the extend method. So now I'm applying in this more first, and here I'm used for print function and print for the message. Just some type for here is called the after this extend. Okay, and so I'm called for this first variable. Okay, so here I'm used for the extend method to add a multiple item from the other list. Okay, so it's completely done, and now just select all and save this code, and then let's run this code now. So as you can see here, so the result is perfectly explained for apple, banana, cherry, orange, and lastly insert for mango and a grape. Okay, so I understand, and it's a perfectly done append and exchange method. And this example here I'm defining using for the insert and remove method. Okay, so as you can see here, so just even for this code. Okay, so first of all here I'm using for the insert method. So different for first dot use this is not correct. Use for perfectly insert, and first of all insert for one the value, and now inserted for the list of item name is a blueberry. Okay, so blueberry is right now is correct, and here I'm printing for this insert function. So first of all here I'm type for after is a insert, and now call for this first. Okay, so here I'm use for insert method to add an item and a specific index. Okay, and now just I'm saving this code and let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for after index for index is what is printed for the output apple, blueberry, banana, and the cherry. Okay, so I understand. Okay. And this topic here I'm using for the remove method because I have been completely understanding this program. So first I'm apply the first and use for this remove method, and in this is I'm remove first name is banana. Okay, like here I'm use for the print function and print for the message. There's a type for is after is remove. Okay, so if you understand, and like here I'm insert for first, I have understand, and here remove method the first occurrence of the specified this item. So now I'm saving this again this code and paste for this run button. Okay, as you can see here, so the result for after remove for apple is perfectly removed for the banana, and a step for the tuples for the apple, blueberry, and the cherry. Okay, so I have been copy and understand and use for the another portion I'm insert here. So now I'm using for the pop and index method. Okay, so first of all I'm going for here and insert it for pop method. So this I'm going insert it for itself. So in this line first I'm remove, and first of all here I'm just a type is a pop. So pop underscore just a type for is a first is equal to just a type for is a first dot inserted for is a pop method for index is 1. Okay, and so now I'm used for after for pop method. So you can see insert for the pop method and call for this first, and again use this print function and print for the other message. Just I'm type for is a pop for first and call for this popped methods. Okay, so popped underscore the calc is inserted publicly, and this is for the pop method to remove and return an item at the specific index. Okay, so here now remove for this code. Simply here I'm saving this code and just let's run this code now. So you can see here, see the result after pop for apple, banana, and the pop first the banana. Okay, so I understand. Okay, so in this topic here I'm used for the index made. So you can see I'm perfectly created this code. So just going for here and then type for is index underscore for all, and this cherry of the first, and call for the first variable used for the index method. And in this index inserted for the first name is a cherry. Okay, and is for is a print function and print for the messages like for index of and create for this cherry the first, and here I'm used for this clone, and I am defined for the index of cherry. Okay, so this means it perfectly used for the pop method. Already I'm used for the pop method and remove an item and a specific index, and the index method defines the position of the specific item. Okay, so I have a complete understanding, and now I'm select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for pop fruit for banana, and the index for all the cherry is 1. Okay, I hope you understanding. So this pop method remove from banana for index is 1 and return it. Okay, and while the index method finds the position of cherry in the list. Okay, and there you have it. So this tutorial is completely done, and you are perfectly explained for the different list methods and operations in Python. Okay, so now just thank you for watching, and I hope you perfectly remember this example. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Python programming series. So today we're diving into the tuples in essential data structure in Python. Okay. So in this session, define perfectly the understanding for in this topic. Okay. So first of all, you define for introduction to tuples. Okay. So a tuple is an ordered, immutable collection of elements. Unlike for a list, once you create a tuple, you cannot change each element. Okay. So for example, just in green for here and create for the first example. First of all, I'm creating and accessing for the tuples. Okay. So for example, just I'm type for the variable name is like the my is that right? It is as a tuple and inserted for set of elements. So first of all, I'm is for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And so now here I'm use is a publicly this print function and print for the double quotation inside different for the messages like for the inter tuple. Okay. So I enter tuple and now here define for is my tuple. Okay. And then in the session, so now I'm just copy in this code and as for the next line, 2 line. Okay, so now just change it. So first of all here, declare is declare for those like first element. Okay, and so as complete and here I've used for this square is 0 of index, and this inserted for you is a publicly just type flow. It's called the lost element. Okay, so you understand, and here I'm publicly defined and inserted for the index of decrement of 1. If you understand, and here I'm created a tuple name for the my tuple, read for the 5 elements, and then print for the enter tuple, the post element and the lost element. Okay, so now just select all and select this code, and just let's figure out this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for existing elements in tuple is similar to existing elements in our list. Using for the supposed to print enter tuple, the post element is 1 and the lost element 5. Okay, so I completely understand. Okay, so this topic here I'm taking and define for tuple packing and unpacking. So you can see the tuple are also handy for packing and unpacking for the multiple files. So let's look at that in this example. Okay. So first of all, I'm just remove for this for all the code, and first I'm defining for just like tag tuple. So if you understand, and I installed it for the sum of first name. So first of all, create this with curve parenthesis, and then type for the first first name is an apple. Secondly, here I'm define for the first name just like is a banana. Third here I'm is for this call this is Terry. Okay, and if you understand, and now first of all I'm define for this parenthesis inside I'm created is like first. Okay, so now it's first is first for 1, and instead for the first, so just type FRUIT first for 2, and also different for is a first for 3. Okay, and it's equal to just different for this packed tuple. Okay, so here the completely down, and now here I'm used for the simply print function, and print for the messages like first for so first is 1 and create this code and now declare for this root one. Okay, so if you understand, and now here I'm copying this code, and this for here is the next two one, and change for this first is 2, but then again change, and here's publicly the first of 3, and here's the last just 3. Okay, so if you understand here, I'm simply painted for is a tuple packing and unpacking. So here just pack for the tree string and in the tuple or the back tuple and unpacked this is the values into 3 variables, just like is the first 1, first 2, and first 3. Okay, so now just unclickable and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the first course, the apple is a banana and the cherry, and here is a let's make it easy assign for the multiple values that on enhancing the code readability and the efficiency. Okay, so I hope you complete understanding this topic, and here I'm publicly explained. So that's for the quick overview of tuples in Python. So here I'm covered for creating tuples, access third elements, so packing and unpacking. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Python programming series. So today we are exploring for the dictionaries on the most versatile data structure in Python. Okay, so here in the session I'm defining for what are dictionaries and how can you use them in your course. Okay, so first of all, I'm simply explain for the introduction to dictionaries. Okay, so a dictionary in Python is an unordered collection of key values pairs. Its key value must be unique and is mapped to a value. Okay, so for example, here I'm creating an existing for dictionary for my first example. Okay, so first of all, here I'm creating for the dictionary name. Just type for here is my underscore DICT for dictionary short form. And here I'm used for the curly brackets and this insert first of all define for this is a name variable. Okay, and insert for the name element, and now inserted for the name is a linear, and then here I'm inserted for the linear is inserted for here is a perfectly is a 25. Okay, and this I'm different for here is a completely inserted for the city. You can see inserted for the city name is a Canada. Okay, so it's a correct for double quotation insert. Always different. It's okay. It's a perfect now. Okay, so I hope you understand. And now here I'm simply print for this code. So first of all, here I'm use the print function, and print for here is enter a dictionary. Okay, so enter is perfectly type is a dictionary. Okay, and now here I'm different for is my dictionary. Okay. And next here I'm used for is a print function, and print for here is a name variable, and also I'm different for here is a my dictionary is a for index. I'm insert for this name. Okay, and next here use again this print function and print for here the age variable. So just perfectly different for healthy different for this age and already. So all as I'm different also is different is my dictionary, and in this insert I'm create for this square brackets insert I'm different for again this age variable. Okay, so next I'm here use for again for this by dictionary for this document. So now inserted for here is a city. Okay, and now I'm particular. So first I'm define for my dictionary, and in the dictionary insert I'm particular for this city variable. So I hope you understanding, and then here I'm used for perfectly now. Okay, so this means here I'm create a dictionary name just like it's my dictionary, but for the key for a name, age, and city, and map to corresponding value, and then print for enter dictionary and exist for individual city. Okay, so I hope you completely understand and for this code, and it's simply done at first of all here. So you can see I'm already write it perfectly, create this code now. Okay, so simply here, select all and save this code. And let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result. Suppose also depends for the enter dictionary or eval or is the names and value is 8020 spot as it and because it's big is a created for the name is junior and age is 25 and city for Canada. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here is a completely see for this result. Okay, so this topic here is for the both element difference. So first of all, here is a dictionary, a dynamic for meaning you can or suppose like adding, modifying, or removing key values pairs. Okay, in the station, first of all, is defined. So the personal so inserted perfectly is for say a small word is a city name. Okay, so now change for there's age is 40 and the name I'm different for here is Jamel, and then is for the city name is a UK. Okay, so it's a perfect understanding, and now here I'm insert for the is original dictionary. Okay, so just remove for, and here I'm just type for perfectly is original dictionary, and simply change for remove for all this all of code, and just saving in this code, and let me write this code now. So as you can see here is paint for the original dictionary. Okay, so now here I'm adding a new key values here. Okay, so for example, just I'm going for a different for my dictionary, and now I'm inserted for here is use the email. Okay, so now inserted for here is perfectly just type for email as is equal to inserted for the email name. For here is Jamil at the rate is at the rate of gmail.com. Okay, so you can understand, and now here I'm used for the print function, and print for the message is just like for author adding for this email, and now here declare for here is my dictionaries perfectly. Okay, so it's a completely done, and now just select all and save this code. So now just let's run this code now. So as you can see here, so the result is perfectly adding for this email. Okay, so you can see here's a perfectly inserted for the email is gmail@rate.com. Okay, gmail.com. So now I'm modifying the existing value. So first of all here just going the next step, and the different for here is a perfectly my dictionary, and it's square bracket inside. I modified this. This is a P inserted for the age is 28. Okay, and now here I'm used for there's a line, and then paste for his next plan and prefer after is modifying this age. Okay, so after modify for int, as I have understand, and now just simply select all asset this code, and just let me run this code now. So you can see here, see the result for multiplying age is name for Jamal is int age is 28, and previous age is equal for 10. It is as usual. Okay, so I hope you properly understanding, and here properly user create the program original dictionary as then as a new key for the email and modifying for the value of a. In the case I have a public sent in the session. So now, and so that's it for today's tutorial, and I'm perfectly overly public creating and accessing further dictionaries in Python. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Python programming series. So today we're going to explore for the slash and important data structure in Python. Okay, so in this session, first is defined for the what of slash and how can you use them in your code. Okay, so first of all here, defined for is an introduction to sets. Okay, so a set is an unordered collections of unique elements. So it's a great for string items, whereas item must be unique. Okay, so for example here, create for suppose like first example is creating and accessing for the state element. Okay, so first of all, here I'm educated about the state name is my underscore is a set, and inserted for the sum of elements. So first of all, inserted for the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so you can understand, and here I'm used for simply print function, and print for the enter state. So just type for here the enter state, and now here I'm default is my state. So if you understand, and now just select all and save this code, and so let me run this code. And now, so as you can see here, see the result for enter state for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can understand now. Here I'm adding an element to the set. Okay, so first of all, here I'm again define for the set, and is an add method, and add for value of 6. Okay, and then wait for here, and then print for the another message. Type for here is that after adding an element. Okay, so now I'm declare for what is my state. So here I'm completely add, and I'll just again say this code, and let me run this code. So as you can see here, perfectly for the lost value is 6. Okay, so I hope you completely understand it. Okay, so next topic here, I'm good at the example. Just I'm trying to add a duplicate element. Okay, so is that again inserted for my state dot use this add method for the value 3. Okay, so again use this print function and print for the messages like so here is after so adding a duplicate element. Okay, so if you understand, and now here I'm defining for this is a method. Okay, here I'm simply forcing to create, so the state is my state, and with for the file element, and then I'm add for is perfectly the new element, and set and try to add to duplicate element. So now just perfectly create, and here I'm select all and save this code. So now just press for is the enter or run button. So as you can see here, it's not defined for is a duplicate element. Okay, so if you can see here is after adding a duplicate element is not inserted for, here's a perfectly print for interstate for previously used for append for perfectly this output. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is not default duplicate value. Okay, so I hope you completely understand it. For in this state is do not support for the duplicate value. Okay, so is it done? And next topic here I'm used for the set operations. So set support for various operations like union, intersection, and difference. So now let's look at some example. Okay, so first of all here remove all of this code. Okay, so instead for state name, so first of all just type for the state underscore for the a variable, and instead for the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7. Okay, so 6 is not inserted, so here right now is great. Okay, so now here inserted for another variable name for the set of b is equal to insert for the sum of values 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. Okay, so if you understand, and then here I'm inserted for the union. So first of all here I'm using create for the union set operations. Okay, just type for here, you can see the union underscore defined for the set is equal to just type for the set of dot use this union operation, and define for the set of b. Okay, and now here I've used simply this print function, print for the message. Just type for here is a union of or set of a, and it's defined for set of b. Okay, and now here I'm used for this is union. So just like is a union set. Okay, so if you understand, And here now just select all and save this code, and let me run this code now. So just press for here the run button. As you can see, the union of state for 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and it's perfectly inserted for the all value. Okay. So next topic here I'm defined for is intersection. Okay. So intersection is the same process for this union set, and simply is modified now. Okay. So first of all, here I'm going to type for is intersection. Okay, so just type for intersection and underscore for this set is equal to. So first of all, declare for is a set of A dot is for this intersection, and instead I'm declare for the variable of set of B. Okay, and then here I'm use so just copy for this code and paste for here is the next offline, and change for here just type is an intersection. So you can see this type for particularly is the intersection of set of A and set of B, and remove for this union of set, and then declare for the intersection set. Okay, if you understand, and here now just select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for intersection of set and set for B 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's a common for these two set operations. Okay, so done for intersection. Okay, so now I'm declare for the difference. Okay, so just type for another variable name is a difference underscore is a set is equal to, so first define for a set of A dot is for this difference, and declare for here the set of B. Okay, and then this part again it is so remove for this union, and here I'm insert for the difference. Okay, just like it's a difference set of A and set B, and remove for this union, and perfectly here I'm declare for the difference set. Okay, so as you can see here, it's completely correct for the creation for union, intersection, and difference. Okay, so now just again explain for this code. So first of all, here I'm created for is a two sets for set and set B, and then here perform for union set operation and intersection set operation, and now right now I'm create for is a difference set operations up there. Okay, here is a completely done, and now I'm just select all and save this code, and just let's run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the difference of the set is 2. So you can see the idioms operation is combined, so the elements from both sets, and intersection is find the common element. The difference field is element in all set but not the others. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here is a completely done, and there's a quick overview of set in Pythons. And here I'm code for the creating sets, performing set operations. Okay, so I hope you perfectly enjoy for these tutorials, and I hope you perfect understanding. So thank you for watching, and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial. So today I'm explaining for the basic string operations and methods in Python. Okay, so in this session I'm completely covered for some fundamental string operations and methods. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm simply explain for the strings. Okay, so strings is a Python sequence of characters is enclosed for the conditions, and you can use for is either for single quotes or double quotes to define the strings. Okay, so simply here define is for example of defining a string. Okay, so let's get started for here, and first of all declare this is a strings for 1 and is equal to, so first of all here I'm used for a single condition inside define for the message, for example is a hello world. Okay, so if you understand, and then next step here I'm create call is a string 2. So you can see is a string 2 is equal to, so now I'm apply for is a double quotation, and in this insert I'm just type for the message, just type for is a Python is 1. So if you understand, and now here I'm used for simply print function, and print for first time is a print for the string 1, and secondly here I'm print for this string of 2. Okay, so if you understand, and here this example, first of all, I'm defining for you is a 2 string. Okay, so the string 1 and string 2, and print them. So now I just save this code and just press for this run button. So as you can see here, see the result for hello world, and the Python is 1. Okay, so you can see here this string can be defined for using either single or double questions. Okay, so I hope you perfectly understand. Okay, so next topic here, define is a string concatenation. Okay, also a repetition. So you can concatenate a string using for the class operator and repeat a string using for the multiplication operators. Okay, now let's try. So now here just remove this code, and first of all here used for the string concatenation, used for the name is greeting is equal to, so apply for the message just like it's of hello. Okay, and now here apply for is a name for example I'm inserted for the name just like for Alice. Okay, and now here I'm used for welcome message. So just type simply, you can see inserted just it's a welcome underscore message is equal to, first of all I'm apply for greeting, used for the plus operator, and then here I'm apply this comma is concatenate, and then again use this plus operator and define for is a name, and now this one is perfect. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm used for the print function, and print for here is called the welcome message. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here now I'm select all and save this code, and you can see this concatenate is greeting print for the welcome message. Okay, so now it's a press for the run button. So as you can see here, see the welcome message for hello Alice. Okay, so I hope you understand. It's simply create the concatenations. Okay, and next step here apply for the another program or example. Now here I'm create the string repetition. Okay, so first of all here I'm just type this is repeat underscore is you can see the word is equal to, so first of all here I'm inserted for the repeat message is a Python. Okay, and then here I apply is a multiplication sign for 3. Okay, and like here I'm simply print for this repeat word. Okay, it's a Python is 3 times. Okay, so this is the name, and greeting is from welcome message, and repeat the word is Python is 3 times. Okay, so I hope you understand. And then select all and set this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for Python is 3 times. Okay, I hope you're understanding this. Okay, so here I'm also used for another method. Now I'm inserted for the string method. So Python is provide for the various string methods to perform the operations on a string. Okay, so let's look at the upper, lower, and string method. So now I'm going for simply here I'm remove for this all of code, and here I'm just type is the original string. Okay, so original string is equal to inserted for the message like for hello world. Okay, so you can see inserted for perfectly hello world. Okay, and this apply for is so this type for uppercase string. Okay, and is equal to, so declare for is the original string dot used for upper method, and now here I'm used for print function, and print function for the message so like it's called the upper case, and now declare this is a uppercase string. Okay, so it's completely done at the uppercase. Now I'm convert the lowercase. So for example, I'm inserted for the lower case, and underscore is a string is equal to original string defined, and here I'm used for the lower method, and simply I'm used for the print function, and the print for here is called the lowercase, and define for is just like for lowercase string, and it next time used for the splitting string into a list of words. So first of all, yeah, define is a sentence. So it's a perfectly type is a sentence is equal to. So if you understand, and here create both sentence, just type for here Python is a. So just type for powerful language, okay? So can instead for the language, and so I'm used for another word is equal to just define sentence dot use for split method, okay? And I use for simply print a function and the print for just type split into the words. So split into the words, okay? So if you understand, and like you're define for this word, okay? So here in this example, first I'm apply for is a upper method converts string uppercase and lowercase methods to convert for the lowercase, and split method break the sentence into a list of words, okay? So here is a completely particular here, and now I'm select all and save this code, and let's let me run this code now. So as you can see here, also the print for uppercase for hello world, like as for hello world, and here the split into the word for Python is a powerful language, okay? So if you understand, and here is inserted for perfectly. So now is a summarize for this total is completely done, and here I'm perfectly cover the basic string operations like concatenations, repetition, and various string methods, including for upper, lower, and split, okay? So thank you for watching, and practice the string operations and methods for to become more passionate in your Python code, okay? So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial on using for the format method in Python. So this tutorial I'm cover for how to use the format method and use for practical example, okay? So now let's get started. So first of all, I'm simply explain for the introduction to format method, okay? So the format method is a powerful way to format a string in a more flexible and readable way, and is replaced for placeholder in a string with a specified values, okay? So for example, here I'm used for simply example just for basic uses of format methods. Okay, so first of all here, different for the name is inserted for here. I'm used for a name is just like is a Zuhan, okay? And insert for the Zuhan age is 25. And now here I'm used for the intro, okay? And create for personal just type is called the my name is, and used for this curly bracket. And for and again this curly bracket, and then type for here you can say just years old, okay? And now here I'm used for is a format method, and this insert I'm different process declare the name key value, and here is also key for the age is not asynchronous, simply declare for this of age, okay? So if you understand, and here I'm use print function and print for this intro. This means here I'm used for the format method to insert the name and is a variable into the for this string, and here the curly brace act as a placeholder for this values, okay? So if you understand, and now I'm select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for my name is Duan and 25 years old, okay? So this is the output, and this simply defined for the use of format methods. And now here I'm creating for the formatting number, and here I'm used for a format method to also useful for formatting numbers, such as specifying the number of the decimal place or padding number with 4 zeros. So now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm remove for this example, and the first time I apply is a formatting number with for decimal plus. So for example, just type for in pi and insert for 3 points. So 1.15%, 9.26535, then define for 8979, and here is a 3. This is a higher number. And now you have uses for method for, and this pi value is equal to, insert for the message, just some type for here, pi is rounded for 2 decimal plus, okay? So you can see the plus is the anti-ram used for is again this color bracket, and in this insert I'm different for clone. So is T and okay, and down here I'm apply is a format method, and just in this insert particular for pi value, okay. So now I'm used for print function, print for here's a formatted this name, okay. So if you understand, and I'm just save in this code and let me run this code now. So right now here, see the result for the pi rounded to decimal place is 3.14. Okay, so if you understand, okay. So next topic here, I'm defining for the padding number with 4 zeros. Okay, so first of all, here I'm declaring for the number is 42, and then instead for here is the padded number. Okay, and use for instead for the numbers just like for is the number. So a number is first for again this color bracket, and then define for 0, 4, 5, and D. Okay, and now here I'm used for the format method and format this declare for the variable, and instead of here is a print function and print for this headed number. Okay, so if you understand, and here, first of all, I apply for is a formatted the value pi or 2 decimal plus using for point to end, and hit the path to the numbers 42 with zeros to make it a 5-digit number easy for the clone 0 for 5t. Okay, so I hope you understand, and now I'm just let go and save this code, and just let me run this code now. And so just press here, so you can see here, so the result is perfectly print, is a 5-digit, is perfectly print, but the number is 00044D, so it's a 5-digit. So I hope you understand. Here is a complicated one, and indexation here is the use for perfectly declare and define cover the basic of format method in Python, including using is a basic placeholder positioning, and here is used for formatted numbers. Okay, so thank you for watching. Hello everyone, and to come back to today's topic. So today here define for what is regular expression in Python. Okay, so let me just introduce what is used to the basic of regular expression and provide for the practical example. Okay, so first of all, define what are the regular expressions. Okay, so regular expressions or the rigors are the pattern used to match sequence of characters in a string, and they're a powerful tool for string manipulations and data extraction. Okay, so in this Python use for the RE method program with the regular expression. Okay, so first of all, here I'm used for the first example is a finding patterns. Okay, so the basic example, and here I'm using for is a RE.search method. Okay, so first of all, here I'm just import for RE. Okay, and then going for here, I'm create example or string. Just a type of the string is equal to use for the string. The message just use for the ring. Okay, so the ring is span. Okay, so there's some perfect type is a span. Is it done? And now here I'm just search for the what is ring. And first of all, here I'm use the method is equal to. So now I'm apply for is array. dot apply for here is a search is a pattern in this insert. First of all, I'm given for the and kit for the double quotation insert I'm declare is a rain, okay, and it's for populate this text, okay. And next step here I'm used for is another solution. This time create is a if condition. So if for this is a match, and create here simply inserted for the print function and print for the messages the type for here. You can see for a match is a found and create clone, and then apply here is a match dot inside here. Here is a group method, okay. And then here I'm apply for is a completely else condition and create for another print message. So the same type for it is no match found, okay. So if you understand, and here I'm used for the .re search method to find the what is the ring in the string, as the pattern is found in the match dot group chance is a match string, okay. So if I understand, and here I'm select all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, so the result format found and inserted by the pit for match is result is rain, okay. So if you understand, okay. So simply done for this example. And this topic here I'm defining for the finding all match, okay. So the finding all is occurrence of the pattern using for the re dot find all, okay. So here I'm already inserted for the text for the rain is pin, and now inserted for another message. So just press this chase mainly in the plane, okay. So in the plane, and then going for here and match for use for simply just type inserted for here. So remove for the search and insert is a find all, okay. And first I'm defined for R and is a remove for this and is either and this text. And then here I'm used for simply print a function and just remove and again for remove, okay. And just I'm going for the next remove, okay. And now just is not remove, so it's perfect. So here I'm use the match found and simply here I'm uses. So just remove here and then apply it perfectly. And here I'm simply just going for inserted for is a perfectly just a type is a match is, okay. It's done and then going for here and simply call for this match, okay. So if you understand, and here I'm used for find all return to a list of all occurrence of the pattern in the string, okay. So now just select all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So just as you can see here, so the result for the match for is a in and in, okay. You see all is found in this match, okay. So this topic here defines replacing patterns, okay. So the replace a pattern in a string using for the re dot sub method, okay. So first of all I'm going for here and again remove for this message, okay. And first of all I apply for is a new text, okay. So just I'm going for here inside it for it's called the new underscore is a text, and then inserted for is a re dot is apply for the sub method as insert for the string, and inserted for the another message just type for here you can see sun, and then declare for the comma and in this create this text, okay. And now just going for here and inserted for is a replace. So just type for perfectly is replace for this text, okay. Now here inserted for here is a perfectly is a new text, okay. So here this example is the sub method replace the word is rain and sounds in the thing, okay. So now it's done, and here is simply I'm just let all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for is a replace text for our space. Okay, so here the word is rainy has successfully replaced for the sun. Okay, so I understand, and here this example, and here I'm perfectly create the topic, and here I'm simply cover the basic of relation in Python, including here is finding patterns and finding all matter and also replacing pattern. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and we come back to today's other tutorial topic. So today I'm different on opening, erasing, and writing into files in Python. So here I'm covering the basic of handling a file and this practical example. So first of all, simple introduction to file handling. So Python is a provider for building a function to handle a file, making it easier to open, read, and write to them as start with opening and reading a file. Okay, so first of all, here I'm declaring a file. Okay, so now let's read the content of a file using for the open function and the read method. Okay, so for example, I'm just going for here, and first of all, I'm open and read a file. So select for here the file is equal to is for this open method, and in this instance, I'm creating for the single quotation insert and define is just this type, for example, dot inserted for here the text, and then create for here the single quotation and insert and define for is a value. So it's a read method, and here I'm completely using for this open functions. Okay, and like step here our means is a read file. Then here I apply is content. Okay, so if you understand and use for the content, and first of all I'm different for the file dot use for this is a read method. Okay, and now I'm simply print for this content, and next I'm apply for here is a file dot is a close method. Okay, so if you understand, and here first of all apply for pinning file name and for example dot text extension in the read mode for all, and here then read is content using for is a read method, and print is finally just close the file using for the close method, if you understand. And now just here select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here is simply print this. Okay, so next step here use for another print file, and in this read file in some of just I'm going for inserted here. So just I'm simply try. Okay, so pen, and here I'm just typing so hello so Python and save. Okay, and then wait for again here, and then in the inside I'm just create a for example inserted for again, and just let all and save this code, and I'll just apply for this message, and here's the print for hello Python. Okay, so if you understand, and here's a completely create this message and show the output. Okay, so it's a completely done. For example, dot text. And in this here, apply for is another method for writing to a file. So if you understand, writing text to a file using for the open function and write method. Okay, so first of all, I'm going for this inside and remove for this file, and here I've inserted for simply just type example, and it's underscore write dot text file, and it's used for creating is a write mode. And inside for going here, and simply I'm just type so remove for this all of code, and first of all here apply. So just type is a file dot use for simply is a write method, and in this inserted for the message. So for example, I'm just type for this is a new file. Okay, and dot here I'm used for is a new line for it contains. Okay, it contains so sum up text. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm used for this the close method. This means in this program just append a file name. For example, I just could write dot text is a write mode, then write a two line of text to file using for the write method, and finally close the file using for this close method. So if I understand, and now just select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, you can see just I'm going for simply here is a code, copy this code and open for this file. Okay, so double press and you can see here is inserted, and now I'm save in this code, and this message just again going here, and simply just is we will again here save this code and just press for this run buttons. As you can see here, see not inserted append because it's append for this inside the auto inserted. So here I'm on not for this code already here append, and stay for this method for in this example write a dot text file inside. Okay, so I understand, and here is this has been created with in following content, and for create this example write file inside. Because I have been understanding as it's completely done, and in the station I created for the basic of file handling in Python, including for opening, reloading, and writing methods. Okay, so just thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello then, and come back to today's another topic. So today here I'm reviewing and writing for CSV and JSON file in Python. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm prepared for reading CSV file. So first, let's read the content of CSV file using for CSV module. So first of all, I'm just going for here and input. So this is a CSV, okay, and then going for to the next step, and now reading a file. So first of all, here I'm used for this read and use for this append and file. And in this instance, I'm particular for the file name, just type, for example, dot CSV, okay, and also that here is a defined file. This is not now. So you can see first of all I'm applied for the file name, and now here I'm inserted is the some type for mode is equal to is defined for is a read mode, okay, and I'm applied for is as this function, and find for this is a file, okay. And now just going this step, and here I'm used for this is a CSV. I just call this is a reader, and is equal to again for CSV dot use for here is a reader method inside I'm defined for this is a file. And now here I'm applied for loop. So for is a row, and for inserted for is a CSV underscore this is a reader, okay. And then here I apply for simply this is a row, okay. So if you understand, and here I'm simply define for this, okay. So this means here I'm used for CSV module to read a file name, for example dot CSV, and here the CSV reader function read the CSV file and print it for each row. So now just I'm trying. So first of all, select all and save this code, and here I'm just press for is a run button. So as you can see here, see the result is perfectly printed for the name is name is a city, and this is a column, and Alice age is 40 and city are new, and this is a new. So I hope you understand. Okay, it's completely done for the read mode. So now inserted for is perfectly the CSV file using for the CSV module instead for the write mode. Okay, so for example, I'm just going for here and simply just inserted. First of all, so now just remove this. Okay, so first of all, I'm in this inserted for perfectly. I'm just going for here and simply remove for this file. So first of all, here I apply this as a example, right? The text and mode for here is a write mode, and also inserted for here is the mode I'm created for is new line. Okay, so if you understand, inserted with the new line is equal to create this single conditions as a file, and then going for here, first of all, on this type is simply define for you can see is a CSV underscore used for this is a writer and is equal to define for CSV dot use this writer method, and in this insert I'm taking for in this file. Okay, and I'll just going at the next step, and you can see here see for this arrow, and first time I place a new line is equal is a perfectly done. So now I'm just again take for this code. Okay, so first of all I'm just going for here, and then next line I play is a CSV underscore this is a writer dot inserted for perfectly is a write up row. So in this insert I'm simply created for this is a name column, and also inserted for you can see inserted for this is a age of column, and also inserted for here is a city. Okay, if it's done, and now here I'm again used for this is a CSV is a writer dot is for perfectly this is a write up a row, and this insert for the sample document. So first of all I'm use the name of Alice, and inserted for the age is inserted is a 35, and also inserted for the city name just like is a new bureau. Okay, so it's done completely, and here I'm completely use this, and now just I'm going for here now the simply so you can see so new this file section not correct. So okay, so first of all I'm open this file, and going for here, and you can see here's a is this is simply just review now. Okay, so it's perfectly done, and here first of all I'm select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here is open this, and I'll just open this CSV, and here is install this plugin. So just I'm again install this, and here's a perfectly finished for this output kit. So here I'm just it's perfectly installed, and now just I'm open for this example. Divide this file. You can see here inserted. So the output for Alice is 35, and the new work kit. So if you understand, and it's completely done for is the read files the CSV. Now here I'm reading and writing for JSON file. So now read a JSON file using for the JSON module. Okay, so first of all just cross this to simple text file, and going for here, and just type so is remove for this all code. So just remove, and first of all here import for is a JSON. Okay, so it's not so import for just type is a JSON. Okay, this is correct, and I'm writing to a JSON file. So first of all here I'm insert for the data is equal to. So first of all here I'm use for the curly bracket. So in this inside define for the name variable the name. Okay, so inserted for the use for the first word is a most capital is the name, and inserted for the name is a channel. Okay, and this here I'm inserted for the age. So define for the channel age. Okay, so the channel is 30. Okay, as next time apply for the channel city name inserted for the city name, like it's you can say this is Canada. Okay, so and it's correct. This one is perfect. Okay, so now it's completely done, and then in this data outset, first of all I'm used for this is a with method I used for this open this file, and now open a file name just like this example dot here I'm type it JSON this file, and use for the mode is equal to is first apply the right mode, and now insert it for as a file and get this clone and go the next step. And first of all here we use for the JSON dot use the and just insert declare for the data, and also use inserted for this file. Okay, so here's a complete done, and now apply for is a reading for a JSON file. So again, use for this with method, and then append method inserted here, and this insert again use this is a this type first called the example dot inserted here is a JSON file, and also here use the mode is equal to the upgrade for the with mode this file, then use for the as of file. Okay, so now apply for is a data is equal to, so first of all here on type is a JSON dot inserted for here is a load method insert checker for this file. Okay, and then print function use and print for this data. So if you understand, and here I perfectly use for this data, and here's a first is a write a dictionary to a file, then for just like you can see I'm created for this is a JSON file, and easy for the JSON dot inserted for here is a dump method, and then which the JSON file is using for the JSON for the load method, and its print its content. Okay, so now this is perfectly create this now. So first of all, I'm save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the name is Jamal and age is 40 and city for Canada. Okay, so if I understand completely, see the result. Okay, so here the station is completely done, and here the station data is correctly read, and this page is of the Python dictionaries. Okay, the perfectly seen. So now it's completely done, and here I perfectly create the basic operating and writing CSV file and also the JSON file in the Python. Okay, so thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and to come to the today's new tutorial. So today I'm creating for understanding for the exception and errors types in Python. Okay, so it's a basic topic. So here I'm basically handling exception and understanding for the common errors types. So now let's get it started. So first of all, introduction to the exception. Okay, so exception are the events detected during program execution that disrupt the normal flow of the program, and Python has provided a way to handle this exception using for try and except block. So first of all here, define for the types of the handling error. So process handling is a zero division error. Okay, so now let's get it started. So first of all here, use the try block. Okay, and now instead for the variable name, so the type is a result is equal to create for the patient is a 10 divided for 0. Okay, and here instead for the is exit block, and the instead for the perfectly is called the zero division error. And here print for the just some magic system type for here is called the error underscore. This is a division by 0. It's not okay. You can't say it's not allowed. Okay, see here. First of all, I'm trying to divide 10 by 0, and this raise for here is 0 division by error, and acceptance block is catch the error and create an appropriate message. Okay, so I understand, and now just select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, print for the error message or division by 0 is not allowed. Okay, so I hope you completely understand this type of error. Okay, so now right now I'm creating here is a handling a file not found error. Okay, so when I'm trying to append a non-existing file, and here now I'm applying the file not found error method. Okay, so for example, just I'm going for, and in this Python insert I'm creating for simple is a new file, and file name created for here is a non underscore is just existence. So existing is a perfect, and underscore insert the file and create extension for this is a text file. Okay, so press for the enter. So you can see here, created for the file is this. Now I'm going for here and simply just remove for this equation, and here I'm also define this is a file is equal to the, so now here I'm used for this append method, a single quotation inside I'm defined for is a non-existing file. And here I'm used for the read mode file, just read. So simply I'm defined for the single quotation inside I'm defined for this for read. I here use for is a saved error and in this inside. So next I'm paid for is a file not find error, and here I'm inserted for the error message for. So just I'm paid here. I'll see. So in the system type is perfectly the file. Okay. So file was not found. Okay, if you understand, and here when just I'm trying to open a file that does not exist and which erase a file not error, this method and save the block catch the error and print an appropriate message. Okay, so I understand, and then I'm saved or I save this code and just print for this output. So as you can see here, this file is not here. Here is created. So already this file is pinned because in this file I'm already created. So now just I'm going for here and simply I'm just delete for this file. Okay, so just I'm delete. And okay, so you can see just I'm delete for this file. And now here I'm just select again and say this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the error because the file was not found, and here is not still for the file locations. Okay, and I hope you understand this type of error. Okay, so next step here I'm used for the other for the multiple handling exception error. Okay, so like here I'm using for a single is a try block. Okay, so first of all I'm going for the simple remove, and here inserted is a remove for this file, and first and type for the variable name is a number, and is equal to is for the integer type, and this insert and define is a input method, and here inserted for enter the number. So just type for enter a message for enter a number. Okay, and now going for the next step and just type for here is a other variable just is the result is equal to define for here is a 10 divided by 10 by is a number. Okay, and now here I'm creating for except and just remove this, so it is not now I'm not create here. So simply just going here for here and create for another except error is block, and then type for here is a value error. Okay, and then wait for here and print for the another message. So some type for here the error message. For example, some type for errors is and for here just some type for invalid for this input. Okay, and then here I'm just type for this message. It says please enter a solid number. Okay, so understand. And I'm going for here and instead for is a 0 division by error, and print for the message for division by 0 is not allowed. Just I'm going for and extends this, and here I'm perfectly inserted is called the division by 0 is not allowed. Okay, so I hope you understand, and it's not correct. This is perfect. Okay, so here first of all use for is promote the user to enter a number and then try to divide for 10 by that number, and the handle for both value error if the print is not a number, and the 0 division error if I use 0 enter for the 0. Okay, so I'm just again see save and this run this code now. Right now here is a see the result for enter a number. So now insert for the number is 11 and press for enter, and you can see it now show. So now just again open for insert for is a 0 and press for is a division by 0 is not allowed. Okay, so I be completely understanding, and here is completely done this topic. Okay, so this session is completely done, and here I'm completely covered the basic of handling exception in Python, including for the specific error, but like type is like is division by error is and file not find error and handling for a multiple exception. Okay, So I have a complete understanding this for this topic. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello there, and welcome back to today's and the topic. So today here I'm creating and for handling exception in Python using for try, except and finally blocks. Okay. So here I'm covering for basic using for the three topics and perfect. The practical examples just applies. So now let's get started. So first of all, here is simply introduction to exception handling. Okay. So Python has provided a way to handle exception using for try, except and finally blocks. And this help you to manage for error and ensure program run smoothly. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to create the basic exception handling using for the try and except block. Okay. So if you understand, I'm just going for here and simply use for the try block. Okay. So first of all, here I'm just type is a result is equal to 20 is divided for 0. And now here I'm apply for is a accept a block and then type for simply is a 0 division error. Okay. And so here I'm print for the error messages like inserted for this is a error for and then type for here is a division by 0. So here is not where is not allowed. Okay. So if I understand and here is try to divide for 20 by 10. Sorry, the 20 for by 0 and with raise a what division 0 division error. And here is a exit block is catch the error and print and appropriate message. Okay. So the perfectly type is a you can see is a type for is a allow. Okay. So is it correct for the appropriate method? So just select all and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see, so the program is handle the division by 0. Error is graceful and is print for the error message for division by 0 is not allowed. Okay. So I hope you understand this topic. Okay. So right now here is already create for the error blocks for try and accept and here I apply is finally blocks. Okay. So I hope you understanding for is a try and accept block and I'm going for and here I'm finally using for the finally block. Okay. So let's use for here's a finally block to ensure for code execution for regardless of either an exception. So first we're going for here simply in for this one. Okay. And apply for perfectly this type is a file is equal to is so okay. So just use for this append is not correct is append method and in this instance I'm declaring for sample file example dot text. Okay. So now I'm just take for here and you look for this example dot text file. So okay, so now here insert it for you can see this is an error. Just add and now create for underscore example does text file is perfect and now the create this is create most this file. Okay. So you can see and I'm created for is a content. Okay. So content is equal to inserted for the file and inserted for is a read method and now I'm just print for this content. Okay. So I understand and then I'm just remove for this error and here I apply for this is a file not error. Sorry, is a file not find error. Here and I'm hit for is an error message just going for here inserted for the file. Okay. So the file was not found. Okay. And then here I'm type is a finally block system type is a finally I'm going for here and print for another message system type for here is a execution. Okay, so just type for execution of the try for except block. Okay. except block is complete. Okay, if you understand. And then here I'm just try open and read a file name, for example. So already I'm created for the example this file. To now I'm just simply remove delete for this file and just perfectly apply. So simply just remove this. Okay, it's not perfect. So here I'm use for the example the text file is a file not is found, a file not error, find your race, and a final block ensure that a final phrase statement executed is regardless of either on execution just occurs. Okay, so now it's completely done. And first of all, let's go and save this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result is so here's a except error for except block. The file was not found, and the execution for error is a finally block of the try except block is complete. Okay, so I hope you understand. And this code are both output. So here's simply done, and the final block ensures that the message is printed, indicating the end of the try except block is execution. Okay, so it's a completely done this session, and here I'm perfectly explained for the basic of handling exception in Python using try, except, and finally blocks. Okay, so I've been understanding this session. So thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our today's tutorial. So today I'm creating and using for the custom expression in Python. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm simply introduction to custom exception. So Python is allow you to define your own custom exception, which can help you handle a specific error case in your code more effectively. So first of all, here I'm creating a custom exception for a class. So now let's start by creating a custom exception for a class. Okay. So first of all, here I'm defining is a class name is a custom error. Okay, so system type is called the custom error. Okay, and so I create the parenthesis inside and define this is exception. So you can see inserted for this exception. So now I create this clone, and next here is not correct. So this one is perfect. Okay, and first of all, here I'm used for the div and then underscore for double underscore and then type for init, and so for all the auto define for the so, and here I inserted this is another system type is message. Okay, then going the next thing here I applied for is a support method, and also for create this parenthesis and dot again use this in it, and in this insert declares this message. Okay, so completely done. Now here apply is the try block. Okay, and then here just type is erase and insert it for perfectly the custom error, and in this insert I'm getting for the error message just type or here is this is a custom exception. Okay, so custom exception. Okay, I hope you understand. And then I'm going for is then so I'm inserted is a perfectly it's not a custom. Okay, so perfectly just a type is a custom exception, and going for the next step and just I'm created for simply define this is a except block, and then type for here is a call the custom error as a. Okay, and now apply for this call and here I'm used for another print function, and print for the message just you cut third, and this is a custom exception. Okay, so you can see inserted perfectly is so it's an exception for T. If you understand, here I'm forced to define a custom exception for class name is a custom error that inherited from the base exception class. Okay, and the recent instance of this custom exception class and cat is using this here is the except block. Okay, so I understand, and I just select or and save this code, and just let me run this code. As now as you can see here, see the result for cat is a custom exception. This is a custom exception. Okay. So here is a printf for it. As you can see, the custom exception message is printed when the exception is cat. Okay, so I understand this type of where is a custom exception. So next step here, I'm using for the custom exception in function. Okay, so now just try. So first of all, here I'm remove for this all of code. Okay, so first and define the function step, and then type is a divide this name, and insert is inserted for the variable of x and y. Okay, and it's applies the if statement and get for y is equal to, that's not correct. This is y is equal to 0. Okay, and 0 4, and inserted for here is a brace, and it's not correct. This is a brace, and now inserted for here you can see inserted is perfectly. So first of all, I'm going for in this insert, and then previous code I'm just again insert here. Okay, so now just again apply. So it must be used because it's a class for this. And first of all, here I'm used for the div, and that function is a divide for x and y, and then here I'm call for is a custom error, and here I'm get this create another message that I'm type for here. You can see it's not, it cannot. So divide is a type is a divide for by is 0. Okay, and like here I'm use simply just type is a return statement, and get for x is divided for y. Okay, and now here apply is a try block, simply create for the try, and inserted for here is perfectly is result variable is equal to define for x is divided for x is a 10 and y for 0. Okay, as I use for here is a print function, and print for this result variable. You can see perfectly type this result, and like here I'll define for again this result variable. Okay, and like here I'm apply for this except block, and again define is a custom error. So as a and kit clone, and like here I'm used for the print function, and print for the message. So just a type right here is so this one is perfect now. So first of all, here I'm just type is search for just this type is a custom exception. Okay, so if you understand, and now so it's defined for this a. Okay, so is a right. This is perfect. So here the station here I'm first of all define is a function is a divide that trace out the custom exception if the divisor is 0, and the call the function inside here is create the try block and create the custom exception using for the except block. Okay, so I understand, and here is a create this code. Now just select or say this code, and just let run this code now. So as you can see here, see the result for the false is exception message for this is a custom exception, and here is a quit for the cannot divide by 0. Okay, so I hope you understand, and here is a completely done for this custom write a custom error using for the custom exception. Okay, so to completely cover the basic of creating using this custom exception pattern. Okay, so now just thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, today I'm coming back to this and the topic. So today I'm importing and using for the methods from the standard library in Python. Okay, so now let's get started. So first of all, here I'm introduced to the introduction to a standard library module. Okay, so in Python, the service for a standard library contains a vast collections of modules that provides for useful functionality for various tasks. Okay, so you can easily import and use these modules in a Python program. So first of all, here I'm applying and using for the math module to perform the mathematical calculations. Okay, so first of all, I'm import for this math as I'm type import and this math. Okay, so I'm calculating for this square root. So define for x is equal to 16, and so then here I'm using for the square, so sq per t, so per t and just for this x variable is equal to is for the math dot square. This is the object for x variable, okay. And so now on this print function is and the print for here the message the type is square root of x, okay. So first of all, apply for is a square root of then x, and again use this color pen double question inside type is a is, and then different for the square x variable, if you understand. And here in this example, first of all, input for a math model and use a function to calculate the square root, okay. So now just select all and save this code, and just let me run this code now. Says can see here the result for the square root of 16 is 4.0, okay. So if you understand in and it's a time I'm creating for is a calculate a factorial is another example. So I'm different for a variable of n is equal to 5, okay. And just type for here is a factorial underscore and the n is equal to first and define is a method tell is a type the factorial declare for in variable, okay. And now here is for the print functions, and print for here is a factorial, so factorial alpha, and different for is and again create this curly conditions inside different for is, and then type is a factorial of n, okay. So now here I'm create is factorials of numbers, okay. So I've understand in this code, and now just simply select or and save this code, and just let me run this code. So as you can see here is there is a for factorial of 5 is 120, okay. So this is output. So as you can see here, the math model is provided for accurate mathematical computation, okay. So I hope you understand. So let's topic here I'm using for the determine module, okay. So now let's see use the determine module to work with the dates and times, okay. So first of all, here import for is a date type. So some type is a date time. So here create here is a create the current date and time. So first of all, you have just type you can see the current underscore this is a date of time, okay. And it's equal to again use for the date time dot this date time, and dot here used for the now module method, and now here I'm used for the print function and print for them. I just suppose I'm just type is a current date and time, okay. And now this now define for the simply current date, and now here I'm used for the simply. So I'm just select all and save this code, and just let's run this code now. Just you can see here, so there is for the current date and type is 2024, and here's the current time, and you can see here is the current date, okay. So I understand, okay. So in this topic here, create is another program create. So now here is a define is a create a custom date, okay. So if you understand, here is a completely create the current date and time instead for the custom date. So first of all, here just type custom underscore date is a variable, and then different again is a date time dot insert for this is a date, and insert define the date is a 2024, and insert it for the 6th month, and insert it for the day. Alpha here is a 4, okay. So I understand, and then insert for is a print function, and print for this is a message the time type for here is a 8, okay. So now just waiting for our print for the message system type is a you can see it's called the custom date, okay. And then type for is a custom underscore date this variable. So this means first time apply for is a get the current date and now current date and time, and now here I'm create the current date, okay. the custom date. So now just select or unset this code and just let me run this code now. So as you can see here, the custom date is 2024. Okay, so I be and complete understanding and determine the date time module for easy manipulation and for formatting date and time. Okay, so here the session completed done, and here perfectly covered the basic coding using modules for a standard library in Python. Okay. So just thank you for watching and happy coding. Hello everyone, and we come back to today's topic. So today I'm importing and using third-party libraries using for in this Python right now. So I'm exploring for this topic, and here I'm completely create this get external libraries into it for Python project. Okay. So now let's get started. So simply I'm explaining for third-party libraries. Okay, so the Python team's versatile ability extends for want its standard library by importing for user third-party libraries. It can access the additional functionality is tailored to its specific needs, enhancing the power and scope of Python project. Okay, so here I'm using for the sum of libraries. Just apply is called the. So here I'm apply for pandas and matplotlib libraries, a third-party library. So first of all, here I'm apply for the pandas library, so which is what they use for data manipulation and analysis. So first of all, here I'm import for just like is pandas. Okay, so just type is perfectly pandas as PD. Okay, and now here I'm creating a data frame from a dictionary. So just type for the data is equal to, so here I'm use for the curly bracket. So in this insert I'm define for simply is a name variable. Okay, and now here I'm create for this is a square bracket inside a secret for the sum of names. So first of all, here define for the name is Alice, and another name I define for here is a Bob, and also third one name is a Charlie. Okay. So understand, and here I'm perfectly create, and I just apply for here is a age variable. So is a define, and now here I'm inserted for sum of age. So first of all, I'm define for Alice is ages 13, and Bob is 25, and also here Charlie is age 35. Okay, so I hope you understand. And here I'm create for data frame is short from df is equal to. So I'm type for here is a PD dot declare. Here you can see it inserted for perfectly is called the data frame, and in this insert I'm defined for this data. Okay, and here again use for print function, and print found this is just is now, and type for here is called the data frame. Okay, so I've been understand completely, and then here on just next line print for this div. So here I'm also import for this pandas library as PD, and use it to create a data frame from our dictionary, and then print for in this data frame. Okay, so now I'm select on save this code, and just I'm type for perfectly run in this code now. So as you can see here, because this live is pandas not installed for here. Okay, so first of all just install this package, and then just again run. Okay, so now is I'm already installed for this pandas package. Now just I'm again try for this output is save and run. So here, so just wait. As you can see here, see if the result is perfectly print. So data frame for name is Alice, the age is 30, Bob is 25, and Charlie is 35. Because I will completely understand, and here there's a perfect output. Okay, so in this pandas for the libraries create the data frame, the perfect dictionary. So next step here I'm using for other library. So now here I'm apply the matplotlib library. So the matplotlib library with the facilities data visualization in Python. Okay, so first of all I'm just going for here, and it's simply inserted for input for pandas. Sorry, is a matplotlib library. So system type is a mat. So you can see, so it's a matplot It's simply just different for the library. Dot insert here is a pyplot as plt. Okay, so first of all, in this package now again is installed, but now here I'm going for complete this code. Now next in this package is installed again. Okay, so simply here I'm defining the plot simply lineup graph. So first of all, use for axis equality inserted for the sum of data is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and it's defined for the weight variable is equal to inserted for here is a 2, 4, and 6, 8, and 10. Now inserted for even though. Okay, and now here I'm used for the plot dot just type for here is the again use is a plot, and this insert different for the variable x and y. Okay, and now I apply for again this plt for the plot dot define is x level. So now first of all I'm just installed first of all this matplot, the pyplot. So just I'm going for here and also going for the setting inside. And here it's going for the project interpreter, and you can see already inside for here is a numpy panda, and this package is already installed, and now here I'm insert for here is a matplot library. Okay, so first of all here I'm just type is a matplot library. Okay, so LIB. So this one matplot library. This one here. I'm just paste. So now it's completely installed for in this matplot library package. So first one different for the plot, and here I'm here to, this is a x for system type is a x level, if I understand. And here in this insert I'm here for some of text of message. First of all, I'm defining for is it's called the x-axis. If you understand, you may type the x-axis, and next I'm apply for again is a plot dot define for is what level, and again this parenthesis and then condition insert and define for is called the y-axis. Okay, and then here I'm insert plot, the plot title suggestion define is called the plot title. So title name I'm inserted for perfectly create this title name is a simple line graph. Okay, so you can see here it's perfectly done. It's a graph. Okay, and right here I'm sure for this all of code, and this is the third line graphs. Here I'm used for this is a show method. Okay, so if you understand, and here I'm simply import for the forces and matplot pyplot library. This method as a plot use it to plot a simple line graph, and then customize the plot with the levels and the title before is displaying it. Okay, so here's it done, and just post the forms later on and save this code, and just let me run this code now. So as a press bar here is a run button. So now just wait here. So wait for a few seconds, and as you can see here, see the complete dependent for this is a output for this. Simply you can see this is a title for the simple line graph, and here is the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and it's perfectly the matplot library of the project is extensive capabilities for creating various type of plot video visualization. We give essential tool for data scientists and analysis. Okay, so I be completely understanding, and here is perfectly output. Okay, so I hope you completely understanding, and here is some of third-party libraries greatly extend for the Python functionality and unveiling for developers to tackle drivers task effective.